What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 7 SP Chapter 151 Charcoal Grimmjow at the same time. On the opposite side of the dunes. At the moment when Ling Yun gave the order, Grimmjow and his subordinate officers were eyeing the fourth team at the same time. Sure enough, the trip was not in vain. There are so many Shinigami. Grimmjow grinned wildly. As a fighting maniac, his eyesight is only one word: do it. Don't be cowardly, just do it. This is the only truth Leopard King believes in. Grimmjow, there seems to be a pretty good guy in that pile of Shinigami down there. Among the 5 subordinate officials, Xiao Long, who was the strongest, soon discovered the existence of Ling Yun. Interesting. I didn't expect such a character to be hidden in Shinigami. Grimmjow grinned grimly. He stood on the edge of the sand dunes, staring at Ling Yun's 910. Just the touch of the eyes burst out the fighting spirit. In the Leopard King's body, since it evolved into a Juka's, the blood has been silent for a long time. Totally awakened. Grimmjow, how about some of us take action to kill him? Ilford, Edolad and the others made no secret of their attitude. Although there are hundreds of soldiers in the 4th Division. But in the eyes of Manos Grande, just a delicious food. Just a word from Grimmjow. The subordinate officials headed by Xiao Long will start killing immediately. Go, hunt Shinigami to your heart's content and crunch their skulls. Grimmjow threw his head back and let out a bestial growl. Roar, with a ferocious momentum, he rushed straight into the sky. Leopard King unleashes Ryotsu. Oops, we're being targeted by Manos Grande. Feel the oppression of Ryotsu that strikes above the dunes. The hundreds of soldiers behind Ling Yun trembled like petrification. Grimmjow's Ryotsu, not inferior to the usual captain-level Shinigami. Because of the virtual Ryotsu, he is violent and full of hostility. The Ryotsu oppression it brings is much more intimidating than a captain-level Shinigami. Go back, hurry back to the base camp. Tell Captain Quangshi they must be vigilant and shrink the battle circle as much as possible. It is very likely that their whereabouts have been exposed. Ling Yun quickly made an inference. Grimmjow's presence, coincidence or not, reveals a lot. Once a battle breaks out, it will send out fluctuations. It will definitely alarm the Void Knight Palace, perhaps. It is only an expedition to sweep the periphery, so it will evolve into an all-out war. 3 seats of Ling Yun. Are you sure you want to stay here alone? The 4th team members looked at each other in blank dismay. At this critical moment, they can only turn to Ling Yun for help. Let alone 2 Ajukas. Jillian, the subordinate officer, is enough to kill them all. Don't worry about me. Take care of yourself first, hurry up and leave. We've been targeted. Ling Yun's words. Let the atmosphere of the audience become dead silent. Thinking of being swallowed by Manos Grande and eating the soul scene. Being creepy is a trivial matter, and many people even pissed in fright. The soldiers of the 4th Division, even the chief officers, are not strong in battle. It takes a lot of trouble to deal with ordinary ghosts, let alone Manos Grande. What are you doing in a daze? Get out of here quickly, Ling Yun shouted angrily. The 4th Division team member came back to his senses and left in an orderly manner. This scene. Nature captured by Grimmjow and the others. Shinigami is going to run away, kill them all. Grimmjow's voice is like the soul voice of hell, announcing the beginning of a killing. Yes. Received the order of the Leopard King. The subordinate officials who were already ready to move left, disappeared in place. Ring and turn. Like a hunter hunting prey. They have targeted the members of the 4th Division. Ling Yun responded quickly. King's Lander. Mask of flesh and blood, Vientian, who soars high and takes the name of man. Shuanglen is engraved on the wall of Konghuo, and the distant sky waits quietly for the abyss of fire. Hados 73, Double Lotus Konghuo Pendant. The Shuanglen Konghuo Pendant after reaching the full level. It is no longer an ordinary flame explosion, but 2 jet black pillars of flame that go straight into the sky. After incorporating Enma's Ryotsu, Hados' power was doubled again. Crash this moment. The space is distorted, and the temperature rises sharply. In the process of swaying, the pitch-black flame emitted a deadly atmosphere. It doesn't matter if the 4th squad is running away, or Grimmjow is standing on the dune. All eyes on it. Gulu, a massive pillar of dark fire. Let the subordinate officials swallow their saliva one after another. As the target of the attack, the feelings of Xiao Long and the others were far stronger than others. It seems that death is only one step away. Get out of the way. It's too late, not even time to talk. The Shuanglen Konghuo Pendant exploded. High-temperature black flames spread overwhelmingly. The air exudes a scorching smell because of being burned. Boom. The next moment, the figures of Xiao Long and others were quickly submerged in it. The situation is changing rapidly. Have you been killed? Grimmjow froze in place. Black flames are reflected in the azure-blue pupils. Even if separated by a certain distance, the aftermath brought by the explosion still poses a deadly threat. The upgraded Shuanglen Konghuo Pendant has shown its powerful power. Below the dunes, The voice of Ling Yun 5.6 came. Your opponent is here. While Ling Yun was speaking, he reached for his waistband and drew out Zanpakutō. This provocative gesture immediately aroused the anger of the Leopard King. Roar! Grimmjow growled in displeasure. His body leaned forward slightly, as if he was about to strike at any moment. It's your turn now. Ling Yun held Zanpakutō with his backhand, bursting out with a fierce aura. The special Ryotsu fused with 7 attributes instantly radiated to the surroundings. Grimmjow's eyes immediately changed. From the original rage, it turned into shock. Ryotsu by Ling Yun. It made him feel suffocated. Chapter 152 I can Sero 2. Are you a captain-class Shinigami? Shrouded in Yanmo's Ryotsu, the expression under the bone mask is filled with deep shock. Grimmjow couldn't help asking. To be fair, as an Ajukas, he is almost at the top of the food chain in Hueco Mundo. There are only a few watt-level Manos Grande that can scare the Leopard King. The feeling of that moment just now, it was as if he was facing another, Skeleton King. That's why the Leopard King was scared. This kind of question should be meaningless, right? Ling Yun's momentum was rising steadily, and he ignored the Leopard King. Cut. Soul Society's Shinigami are all as arrogant as you? Grimmjow quickly recovered, unruly and brutal with a fighting spirit. Even Ling Yun's Ryotsu made him feel suffocated. But Grimmjow's fighting spirit is even stronger than before. Arrogance? This is the first time I've heard that someone commented on me like that? Ling Yun smiled helplessly. Reckless as 11 reckless. The tone of his speech was obviously flat, but when it reaches Grimmjow's ears, it becomes another meaning. Ling Yun had to complain. The Leopard King's brain circuit is indeed rather novel. Used by the evil god, Wei Wu has exhausted his body. Yanmo Dark Scythe. Ling Yun released Shikai's Force Zone without any hesitation. The loud words fell. The Zanpakutō in his hand, with the sound, emitted a dark light. Meeting Grimmjow's gaze, the dark scythe of death took shape. Zanpakutō of Shinigami. Under the white bone mask is a fearful gaze. The aggressive momentum of the Leopard King was once again suppressed. Yanmo's stylish appearance deeply attracted his attention. Are you afraid? Ling Yun held the scythe of death in his hand. The slightly upturned corners of the mouth outlined a confident arc. Since the last time I fought against the store manager, relying on the characteristics of all attributes, I have successfully copied all the moves of the other party. Yanmo today has a variety of tricks. Attack, defense and control are integrated. Finally, a leopard was delivered to the door. Ling Yun naturally did not intend to miss the opportunity. Play with fire, Yanmo. Ling Yun swung the death scythe, and Ryotsu ran along the blade's surface. Gradually evolved into a pitch-black flame. The air was ignited again, the temperature broke through the original boiling point, and there was a harsh sound. Around Ling Yun's body, along with the death scythe hovering, jet-black flame arcs encircled. Little leopard. If you stay in a daze again, you will be slaughtered by my Zanpakutō just like your companion. These words of Ling Yun immediately ignited the explosive barrel. Little leopard. Son? Words full of anger popped out word by word. Even through the mask, it is still not difficult to imagine Grimmjow's expression at the moment. It must have been distorted by rage. Is it really easy to be fooled? Ling Yun showed a faint smile. Opponents like the Leopard King, seemingly vicious and cruel, are actually the easiest to deal with. The best way is actually provocation. Verbal provocation, especially the aggressive method, has some excellent effects. With Grimmjow's temper, if someone cancels him, he will definitely go berserk immediately. As predicted, Shinigami, lousy is going to tear you to pieces. The roar of the Leopard King came head-on. Grimmjow bared his teeth and Ryotsu burst into ultimate, almost on the verge of losing control. Little leopard. This is the first time it has been called so in the hundreds of years since its birth. It just cost him his life. Response. The unique speed of a cheetah. It is vividly reflected at this moment. The venomous roar just now even stayed in place, but Grimmjow's figure has disappeared. A rubbish like you has no right to challenge me. The next moment, Grimmjow appears. Like a blue afterimage, he suddenly appeared above, waving his sharp claws towards Ling Yun. In the next picture, you can even meet. Once pierced by sharp claws, it will inevitably disembowel and expand the belly, and even the head will be gnawed. Grimmjow himself thought so too. Yeah, what happened next? But he was shocked once again. The sharp claws pierced through the chest, tearing a hole, but there was no bloodline at all. What's even more weird? That Ling Yun was expressionless. Not only was there no pain, there was even no resistance, just sitting and waiting to die. Grimmjow has devoured countless virtual souls for hundreds of years, but he has never encountered such a situation. He suddenly felt that his head was not enough. Why is this happening? I have already succeeded, he should die immediately. Grimmjow was puzzled. Hunt, raid, hunt. This has been the most common means of hunting for him in the Hueco Mundo for hundreds of years. A delay of hundreds of years means, suddenly it doesn't work. Grimmjow was naturally caught up too, but at this moment. Little leopard. Words that made Leopard King hate to the bone suddenly came from behind. Grimmjow's whole body was 827 stiff, and then he turned around abruptly, his eyes under the bone mask filled with disbelief. How can you be alive, that way? Grimmjow turned back. This is the prelude to Sero, however, but to her horror, she found that the Ling Yun beside her turned into an afterimage and disappeared bit by bit. He was disappointed from the bottom of his heart. He suddenly opened his jaw, revealing extremely sharp teeth. Little leopard, you are too weak. Without a Rancor, you are no threat at all. Ling Yun held the sickle of death in his hand, with black flames attached to the sharp edge of the blade. Ling Yun's face remained unchanged. Ryotsu frantically condensed in front of him, and soon turned into a bright red light. It's just an afterimage, stop looking down on people, Grimmjow growled sullenly. Not because he's inflated on purpose, but because he's also Sero. Grimmjow was both annoyed and shocked. Cut. The fighting method is similar to that of wild beasts. Realize that you have been duped. The method of creating afterimages has been fighting in Hueco Mundo for so many years, but I have never seen it before. Without a Rancor, without Shinigamiization, Grimmjow's strength is far from the level of the original plot. This trick might work on Hueco Mundo, but against Shinigami of the same level, it will definitely be hanged and beaten. Chapter 153 Ling Yun's Infinite Sero. Ling Yun stood on the sand dune. Even in the eyes, the red flashes that are constantly condensing on the opposite side are reflected. Ling Yun still had a calm expression on his face, not even changing his face. Not expansive, not contemptuous, simply because he can also Sero. Sero of Ijukas, it's finally getting me a little excited. Ling Yun smiled with satisfaction. To be honest, dealing with Grimmjow is far easier than Sui Feng. Without a Rancor. Even if Enma doesn't have Shikai, rely on Kido and Yachiryu Kendo alone. Ling Yun is still confident, he hangs up the opponent and hits him. Only Sero can pique his interest. That's why. Talent awakened before, Infinite Sero Ensemble. A few months ago, in the 4th Division Sword Gym, Ling Yun accidentally blurred and ran away during his practice. That time, there was no danger, and finally awakened the talent. Open black lens bracket Infinite Sero Ensemble close black lens bracket, talent effect. When releasing Sero, there is a chance to release it repeatedly, and the number of releases is unlimited. And it can absorb other Sero, which has the additional effect of power superposition. That's right, not only has a chance to re-release, but also has the ability to absorb other Sero. This is the root cause of Ling Yun's excitement. This shot by Grimmjow, Sero, is the perfect opportunity to experiment. Shinigami. You are so arrogant, the Shinigami of the Soul Society, are they all in this hateful gesture? Grimmjow's spiteful growl sounded again. The Leopard King watched Ling Yun's expression while condensing Sero. I thought Ling Yun would change color. Unexpectedly, it was still as if nothing had happened. Made. So angry. Why is he acting like this? Grimmjow was puzzled. In the past, when he was hunting prey, whenever he released Sero, he would deliberately pay attention to the opponent's expression. Fear, dread. This is the expression Leopard King is most willing to see. This is another kind of pleasure for it, a tried and tested trick. But it didn't work for Ling Yun. This caused Leopard King's killing intent to quickly climb to the peak. I swear to never die. Hey, is Sero okay? The condensation process is too long. Just when the Leopard King was full of anger, Ling Yun's impatient voice came from the opposite dune. Grimmjow had black lines all over his face, he almost ate Sero himself. What is he? You are a Shinigami, why do you dislike it? If it weren't for worrying that Sero would explode and hurt his body. It absolutely rushed up immediately and fought Ling Yun to the death. Is my Leopard King shameless? After half a sound? Sero finally condenses. Accompanied by the flickering red light, a breath of death and silence gradually spread to the surroundings. Go to hell. Grimmjow growled sullenly, yaw. Just when Sero is about to be released, Ling Yun's voice came from the dunes again. Well, it's not bad, it's indeed much better than ordinary Carry Anfu. There was obvious relief in Ling Yun's words, he is like a mentor, commenting on a junior. These words. Stimulating Grimmjow again. Boom! The Leopard King's response was to release Sero suddenly. The crimson flash is mighty, like a torrent of steel, sweeping towards the sand dunes. They were teased one after another. Grimmjow was literally blowing his lungs out. Only killing Ling Yun into scum is the only way to relieve his anger. The screen shifts. On the opposite side of the dunes. Even within the line of sight, Yan Mo is completely covered by the flash. Ling Yun's face remained unchanged, he even temporarily put down Yan Mo and completely abandoned all defenses. If there are outsiders present, you will definitely be shocked by Ling Yun's actions. Isn't this courting death? Boom! After the deafening noise, the wave of Sero hits head-on. Just at the moment when the body is about to be submerged. Talent activated. Infinite Sero reprise. This stretch of endless sand dunes. Immediately a good show was staged, clatter. When all the crimson flashes were about to hit Ling Yun, there was no sign of explosion. Driven by the black Ryotsu, it keeps compressing and condensing instead. How can that be? Grimmjow froze in place, staring straight at what was happening in the distance. The azure-blue pupils are full of shock at the same time. Ling Yun's black Sero is condensed. Accompanied by the surge of black light, a breath of death and silence gradually spread to the surroundings. Even more astonishing, the space around him was affected by this wave of silence, and there was an obvious visual distortion. Witness it all for yourself. Grimmjow suddenly felt goosebumps all over his body. He suddenly recalled what Ling Yun said just now, and what he did. Instantly feel scalp tingling, turn out to be the one who is truly ignorant and ridiculous as himself. Ling Yun really knows Sero, little leopard. Originally, I wanted to wait for you to turn into an Arrancar, and we would have another hearty battle. Ling Yun slowly raised her finger, and her mood became a little violent when she spoke. It seems that there is no such opportunity now. Words fell. Black Sero blasted out suddenly, not once, but several times in a row. With the passive trigger of the talent, really infinite Sero. Boom boom, Grimmjow and his subordinate officers. This battle, there is no danger, but, because the fluctuation of black Sero is too strong. Black rays of light occupy the entire space, it's a pity that I met Ling Yun by accident. Grimmjow's figure then disappeared, it also includes the base camp of the expeditionary force. After the deafening bang, the black light containing the aura of destruction fell directly on the desert below. Hundreds of years of hunting in the Hueco Mundo, if you stay longer, you can wait until the day of Arrancarization. Not only this sand dune desert, but even spread to other areas. Boom. The power of infinite Sero is much stronger than expected, thanks to this opportunity. It was too late to dodge at this time, simply a solo show. Ling Yun lowered his arms in satisfaction. Even if Grimmjow wanted to escape, he couldn't run faster than the black light spread. Chapter 154 Aizen acting alone at the same time. The base camp of the expeditionary force. To the northwest of Heichang, where the 5th Division is located. Vice Captain Aizen. All the ghosts in this area have been successfully wiped out. An official came to the front respectfully. He met Aizen's gaze with strong respect. Elegant and easygoing, approachable, not putting on airs at all. Even when he came to Hueco Mundo, Aizen still showed the image that a good guy should have. Win the goodwill of the 5th Division team members again. Everyone has worked hard, let's rest for a while. Aizen turned around like a gentleman. Under the thick black bangs is a gentle smiling face. The deadly costume on his body seems to have a certain fit with Hueco Mundo's eternal night sky. Hueco Mundo. The space where Manos Grande and Arrancar live. Aizen is also the first time to set foot. For everything here, in fact, Aizen had already known about it many years ago. The ancient books in the Great Spirit Book corridor contain the secrets about Hueco Mundo. Read books and see for yourself. Totally two different things. After arriving at Hueco Mundo through the Black Cavity, Aizen is as low-key as ever. For the decisions made by others, he has an attitude of agreeing and acquiescing. With the guise of good 500 popularity, Aizen is more convenient to observe secretly. And after each team acted alone, Aizen's plan also accelerated. Vice Captain Aizen, what's the next move? The officer asked curiously. Stay in this area temporarily and wait for follow-up orders. Aizen ordered methodically. Understood, Sergeant of the 5th Division. Follow orders from the heart. Aizen's hypocrisy and sense of justice reveal a unique personality charm. Just then, boom, suddenly came from a distance, a deafening loud noise. Instantly attracted everyone's attention. This is not just ordinary soldiers, even Aizen wondered. He looked towards the source of the sound. Under the thick black-rimmed glasses, there is a slight frown. What on earth happened? It's rare that Manos Grande is coming. Has our whereabouts been exposed? The entire 5th team suddenly became a mess. The harsh environment of Hueco Mundo and the firmament of eternal night are scary enough. Now there was a sudden noise, it's like a horror show. Everyone, be safe and don't be impatient and don't get confused. Crucial moment. Aizen displayed a calm demeanor. His voice seemed peaceful, but it had a certain power. In a few words, the fear was dispelled. The original order was restored, and everyone was silent, watching the distance silently. If I remember correctly, the team that is active over there should be the 4th team, right? Aizen looked at the officer beside him. The officer nodded. That's right, Aizen's vice captain. The 4th team is responsible for exploring the terrain, and there are more hills over there, so they went there first. I see. Aizen immediately thought of someone. That's right, it's Ling Yun. Although there is no direct contact, Aizen has been secretly paying attention. Up to Team 0, down to the residents of Rukongai. Any troubles in the Soul Society are within the scope of Aizen's observation. Gote 13 First Day Genius. With the aura of genius, no matter how low-key Ling Yun is, he will naturally attract Aizen's attention. Just from the fluctuations that came out just now, as well as my own intuition about the battle. Aizen is 100% sure that 10 battles must have broken out at the location of the source of the sound. And the opponent is likely to be Ijuka's level Manos Grande. Interesting. I hope my inference is not wrong. Aizen pondered with a half-smile. Holding Zanpakutō Kyoka Suigetsu in his hand, BBCG, he turned slowly to look at the other team members. Then, the Zanpakutō liberation language sounded. Shatter, Kyoka Suigetsu, falling with Aizen's voice. The surrounding space is like a mirror ship shattered. Everything is like a cycle of reality and illusion. The total number was more than 200, and the captain of the 5th Division fell into an illusion-blowing sleep in an instant. 5 senses hypnosis. Ability unique to Kyoka Suigetsu. Once liberated, it controls the enemy's 5 senses, making a specific object map leaf an object. All gestures, including shape, texture, touch, taste, etc. All mistaken for what Aizen imagined. Think of flies as dragons and swamps as flowerbeds. This is where Kyoka Suigetsu's heaven-defying comes in. And the past few years, Aizen has demonstrated Kyoka Suigetsu's ability in front of the team many times. Kyoka Suigetsu is the flowing water system Zanpakutō. When it is liberated, through the refraction of fog and water, it can disturb the enemy and make them kill each other. This rhetoric has been deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. Almost the entirety of Go-Day 13, it is believed that Aizen's Zanpakutō abilities are limited to this extent. But it's all a lie. Stay here and await orders. Aizen smiled slightly. Yes, Captain Aizen, the 5th Division members agreed in unison. It's just that their eyes are looking in another direction. In that place, there exists a phantom, Aizen, Shihouin Ling Yun. Hope you won't disappoint me, after leaving an intriguing sentence. Aizen's figure disappeared, and the 5th Division behind them is still in order. The screen returns to the dunes. Ah, Ling Yun just put away Zanpakutō and immediately sneezed. I don't know who is talking about me behind my back. She stretched her waist flatteredly. Ling Yun joked to himself. Take out Grimmjow and his subordinates. Although the matter came to an end, Ling Yun did not plan to return to the base camp. His goal? Locked another dangerous place, Manos Grande Forest. That belongs to Jillian, and the place where the ranks below dummy live. It is also the lair of virtual birth, the forest of Manos Grande. It is said that there is endless void there, so it should help my hollow? Ling Yun had the idea of looking forward to it. The figure disappeared into the sand dunes and finally disappeared. Chapter 155 opening the Peerless Mowing Mode soon after. The base camp of the expeditionary force. Fleeing all the way from the sand dunes and desert, the captain of the 4th Squad came back here in a thrilling manner. Think back to the scene where Manos Grande strikes. Almost everyone broke into a cold sweat. Manos Grande at the level of Ijuka's is a killing machine for the Shinigami of the medical team. After finally escaping back to the base camp, the members of the 4th Division who survived the catastrophe immediately reported the emergency situation. Ever since, the whole base camp was fried in an instant. No way? Ijuka's actually attacked. Love Akawa's face was filled with worry, and he said, I really didn't expect that not long after we arrived at Hueco Mundo, our whereabouts were exposed. Luo Wu, this is actually expected. We should deal with any risks. Mugaruma Kensai's mood did not fluctuate much. Even the Captain Haori still couldn't hide his strong muscles. Kenshi, what you said is really light, those are 2 Ijuka's level Manos Grandes. Yadomaru Lisa on the side rolled her eyes in contempt. Her character is just that direct. As long as it is not pleasing to the eye, it is a blank stare. Of course, Mugaruma Kensai, being a grumpy old man, is not a vegetarian either. Lisa Sauce, why did you become less courageous when you came to Hueco Mundo? If I were yours, I'd just hide in the base camp and read swimming magazines to pass the time. Mugaruma Kensai deliberately used the aggressive method. Ah, will you still use the aggressive method? Although being dissed in public, instead of being angry, Yadomaru Lisa felt a little novel. When will you punch this reckless man? He even knows Yelazi. Che, don't tell me, I'm really happy to stay here. Lisa-chan doesn't like this at all. Despite Mugaruma Kensai's ridicule, she is still watertight. On the other hand, Hiyori next to the corner couldn't help becoming worried, and angrily said, Oh, it's an emergency, you two should stop bickering. The little girl spoke. The audience suddenly fell silent. Except for Sui Feng and Shijijin, everyone else understands Hiyori's violent temper. In case Hiyori was offended, the whole base camp is afraid to be demolished. Actually, there is no need for you to worry too much. Based on what I know about Ling Yun, even if it is Ijuka's, he can retreat unscathed. Sui Feng, who has always been aloof, rarely opened his mouth. Vice Captain Sui Feng, are you so confident in brother Ling Yun? Love Akawa was surprised. Of course, our little Sui Feng was abused several times before. Local tycoon Omeda Nozomi took over the conversation with a cheerful face. But he regretted it as soon as he finished speaking. A chill came from behind, and Sui Feng's murderous gaze. Let this local rich father tremble. So this is awe. Everyone looked at Sui Feng, and suddenly became a little weird. It's okay to be abused and become a fan. Why don't we take the initiative to find Ling Yun? Waiting here is not an option. Hiyori proposed again. No, that's too reckless. Love Aikawa immediately vetoed it, shaking his head and said, the environment of Hueco Mundo is originally dark and dull, and the visibility is extremely low. It is easy to get lost if you leave rashly. What's more, the information brought back by the fourth team also said that our whereabouts have been exposed. At Zai Palace, there will be Manos Grande attacking at any time, it's better for everyone to hug each other. Love Aikawa conducted a rigorous analysis. His curly afro was disheveled by the cold wind, looking like a chicken coop of weeds. Of all the people present, only he and Sui Feng are the calmest. As for the others, they are more or less impulsive and easily make wrong decisions. He is the captain himself, so the Afro uncle still has a lot of power to speak. By the way, Captain Aizen, what do you think? Love Aikawa turned around and looked at Aizen, who had been silent not far away. I have no opinion, such a decision is the most appropriate. Aizen showed a gentle smile. Words and deeds, facial expressions. There is no difference from usual. Hearing his answer, Love Aikawa nodded. He didn't notice anything wrong. Ask for flowers. That's it for the time being, observe for a while, and then discuss the next action. Love Aikawa's proposal was unanimously approved. The base camp settled down quickly. At the same time, the screen returns to Ling Yun's side. Just over there at the base camp, while worrying for Ling Yun. Something really happened to Ling Yun here. The whereabouts are indeed exposed. Ling Yun stood on the side of the small hill, with the transparent splitting void towering in front of him. Not long ago, on the way to the forest of Manos Grande, it was thought that there would be no more fighting. Unexpectedly, not long after they left, a huge group of Jillians suddenly appeared, roaring and sending out Sero after Sero. This is how this scene happened now. It must be Shielaporo's fault. Ling Yun frowned. As the prophet of the plot, others may not know the status of Hueco Mundo and the Void Palace. But Ling Yun is different. He knows almost everything. But, for the siege of the Jillian group, Ling Yun was not panicked at all. Residents who seem to be in crisis are indeed a good time to deal with them. Wherever the blue light went, the space fluctuated violently, and the roar of thunder resounded through the sky. No suspense, no surprises. In his palm, the majestic Reiatsu quickly condensed. In the blazing and dazzling blue light, there is a gloomy and destructive aura reflected. A dazzling blue beam of light was emitted from the palm, sweeping across all directions like a roar of thunder. Even if you give up singing and release, Hado's power should not be underestimated. Although for a short time, Hado cannot be chanted to release. However, the skill is upgraded to the full level, which perfectly makes up for this shortcoming. Instead, Ling Yun intends to start the unparalleled mowing mode. Ling Yun easily resolved the crisis and, in just a few breaths. That's right, facing a lot of Jillian. The moment Ling Yun's words fell, the densely packed Jillian group, in just a few breaths, turned into ashes and died. Hado's 88, the flying dragon strikes the thief and shakes the sky. In unparalleled mowing mode, boom. Chapter 156 New Hollow Ability. The densely packed Jillian group, in just a few breaths, turned into ashes and died. In unparalleled mowing mode, Ling Yun easily resolved the crisis. The average Jillian, there's just not enough to watch. The range of sight is filled with blue spirits. Ling Yun's expression was unwavering. To be reasonable, although there is a large range of movement, it is easy to alarm other Manos Grande groups. Once fighting breaks out, the number of Manos Grande Jillian will only increase. But he didn't care. Without Aaroncarization, even Ijukas wouldn't pose much of a threat. The only thing that can motivate Ling Yun. There are only a handful of Vasto Lords. Stark, Baragan, Hurley Bell, Little Yu. Among these original storylines, Espada, whose serial number ranks in the top 4 of 743, still has a strong combat power even at this point in time. Can fight against any of them. In fact, it is also what Ling Yun most desires to happen. Of course, there is still one problem. That is to find the entrance to the Manos Grande forest. This desert is boundless. Finding the entrance to the Manos Grande forest is not an easy task. Without any choice, Ling Yun can only use the simplest and rude method. Shine. Ling Yun pulled out Zanpakutō Yanmo from his girdle. With a wave of his hand, he directed a slash wave of sword energy toward the desert under his feet. Black sword pressure. A pitch black sword pressure, accompanied by the majestic Reiatsu, burst out at an extremely fast speed. Under Ling Yun's gaze, it directly penetrated the underground desert, tearing a huge crack in an instant. The original landform of this desert instantly changed. A sword splits the desert, and the next thing becomes a matter of course. Ling Yun also came to the surface. Soon after, below the surface of the Hueco Mundo. Along the dark tunnel, Ling Yun continued to move forward, and after a long journey, he finally resisted the destination. Manos Grande Forest. As the name suggests, it is the nest of virtual life. Looking around, there is only pitch black style here. In the dull air, the smell of blood filled the air, making people frown uncontrollably. One can imagine, as Shu's lair. The number of ghosts hovering here has reached an inestimable level. More importantly, due to the huge coverage, it almost spreads the entire Hueco Mundo subsurface. Therefore, the area of the Manos Grande forest is also immeasurable. No one knows how big it is. There is no record in the ancient books. If you accidentally come here, you must first be prepared to get lost, and the second is endless danger. The Soul Society has a long past, and some deeds have happened in the previous expeditions. Because of chasing Shu Shu, he accidentally strayed into the Manos Grande forest, and ended up in a bad end. Over time, with the passage of time, the entire Manos Grande forest has a new title, the Ominous Place. There was almost zero light, no visibility at all. Ling Yun moved very slowly. Without any choice, he can only rely on Hado. O King of Kings, the mask of flesh and blood, the Vientiane, the thing that soars high, and the name of man. Scorching heat and strife, across the sea to the south, step forward. 31 of Hado, red cannon. As Bakudo chants fell, a group destroyer appeared in Ling Yun's hands. The whole underground was instantly illuminated. There are so many Manos Grande. Through the heavily burning flames, Ling Yun observed for a while. There are countless Jillians almost everywhere you can see. They are in groups, moving slowly in the dark aisles. The clown-like shape and tall black body are like tombstones in the dark. Even if you have already prepared yourself. But just looking at it, Ling Yun still felt a tingling sensation in his scalp. You know, he has just arrived in the Manos Grande forest, and he is even at the periphery. The number of Jillian is already immeasurable. It is hard to imagine how terrifying the interior of the Manos Grande forest is. The scene there is bound to be spectacular. Ling Yun then extinguished the fireball, so as not to cause large-scale fluctuations. The surrounding space became dark again. Due to the lack of a map, it is impossible to accurately identify the direction. Ling Yun had to go by instinct. Even if you get lost, it doesn't matter. Anyway, push all the way and you're done. However, he hadn't left for a long time before his expression changed slightly. That is because the system prompt sounded suddenly. Ding. A warm reminder. A triggering task will appear. Do you want to choose it immediately? The system, as always, does not play cards according to routines. Suddenly a random mission is triggered. No. Can random missions be triggered here? Ling Yun was very surprised. Every random mission will bring rich rewards, and this time should be no exception. Ling Yun's mood immediately improved. He said nothing. Immediately opened the task information bar. Open black lens bracket random mission. Massacre of Manos Grande close black lens bracket. Task content. Kill a total of 10,000 Manos Grande in the Manos Grande forest, and the specified time limit is 5 days. Task reward. Resound. After carefully reading the mission content, Ling Yun was both pleasantly surprised and surprised. Sure enough, every random mission is completely unpredictable. Kill 10,000 Manos Grande. No matter how strong he is, there is a time limit for the task. Manos Grande's unique movement skills, although similar to Shinigami's Shunpo, have a stronger burst ability. The system is basically playing with people's mentality. Ling Yun still thinks it smells really good. But this quantity requirement is too exaggerated. For the improvement of Zanpakutō Yanma, there must be a significant effect. Ever since, if it weren't for the great task rewards, Ling Yun would have almost cursed at 4.6. Wanting to kill 10,000 Manos Grande within 5 days is actually not that difficult. Ling Yun turned on the unparalleled mowing mode again. WTF. Ring to turn. Thanks to the existence of divine healing. Ling Yun doesn't have to worry at all. Reiatsu will be boring questions. He immediately started flat pushing. If you can learn to spin, and then upgrade to the full level. Tukao belongs to Tukao. Chapter 157 New Flash Goddess. Time flies. 4 days passed in a blink of an eye. In order to complete the random tasks of the system, Ling Yun turned on the unparalleled mowing mode. Because of this area, the number of Manos Grande is already high, and fighting broke out almost all the way. Roar. Jillian roared, and the crowd rioted again. But for this phenomenon, after experiencing these 4 days, Ling Yun has long been used to it. He had a calm expression on his face. It was lucky this time, Jillian's number seemed to be in the hundreds. Ling Yun looked towards the source of the voice, with a slight smile on his face. The mission requirement of 10,000 is only less than 1,000. As long as you kill this group of Manos Grande again, the skill of spinning will be sure. Let's just make a big one this time. Without any hesitation, Ling Yun pulled Yan Mo out of his girdle. He raised the Zanpakutō high above his head, then swung it hard towards the ground. Everything is repeated again. The evil spirit unique to Yakiryu Kendo, coupled with the dark Reiatsu of Yan Momoto's 11 bodies, easily penetrated the ground. Bang! Accompanied by a deafening bang. The terrifying energy emanating from this pitch-black sword energy slash wave spreads around like a wave. Wherever they went, the ground collapsed, except for the place where Ling Yun was, the rest instantly turned into ruins. Just one knife. Easily blow up the entire Manos Grande forest. And the Jillian group hovering around disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. The task should be completed now. Ling Yun waited for the task reward with anticipation. As predicted, the system prompt sound came as scheduled. Congratulations, host, for completing the random mission, Massacre of Manos Grande. Mission rewards, resound. Hearing the mission prompt, Ling Yun was overjoyed. He could clearly sense that the originally upgraded Shunpo had undergone some kind of essential transformation. Although Shunpo and Dingzhuan, there is not much difference in essence. But before that, Ling Yun Zanpakutō Yanmo had already awakened the talent of time and space attributes. When the two become one, Ling Yun's attainments in time and space will also break the original bottleneck. Will be good for developing more skills. Then it's time to upgrade your skills. After calming down a little, Ling Yun couldn't wait, opened the property panel, and clicked on the layer behind the ring. Ding! Congratulations to host, the ring level has been raised to LV2. Congratulations to host, the ring level has been raised to LV3. Congratulations to host, the ring level has been raised to LV4. Congratulations host, the level has been upgraded to LV99. Ling Yun reached the full level of the skill in one breath. The system notification sound, like a text message bombardment, kept ringing in my ears. Although this time, there is no awakening talent. However, after the ring is upgraded to the full level, it is really like teleportation, and it is easy to avoid any pressure perception. That is, once Ling Yun's speed exploded to ultimate. Even if it is as strong as Aizen or the captain, it is not as fast as Ling Yun. It also means that the title of Flash Goddess has existed in name only. Ling Yun is the new Flash Goddess. At the same time, less than half an hour away from the ruins where Ling Yun is located, there is a very hidden small cave. From the surface alone, there is nothing strange about the outside of the cave. However, inside it, a winding aisle extends, with a neat wooden floor on it, and one lamp after another is hung. Not long ago, when Ling Yun pierced the ground with a sword, the aftermath of the sword energy also reached here. And in this special cave, there was also a light sigh. I shouldn't be wrong, right? What's the matter with this sword pressure? There are other Jillian's breaths, and they all disappeared in an instant. A voice full of doubts echoed in the cave. The owner of this voice has a tall and burly figure. Because of the white bone mask on his face, he couldn't see his appearance clearly. It is worth mentioning that this mysterious man was wearing a dark black kimono, a cape with a skull, and brown fur hanging from his shoulders. If Ling Yun is present, he must be able to recognize his identity at a glance. About 100 years ago, the group of Shinigami strayed into the Manos Grande forest because they were chasing Shu. The only survivor, Shinigami Asido. Back then, Asido was still an ordinary Shinigami, and he and his companions were the guards of Jingalingting. Later, in a mission, in order to chase Shu who invaded Jingalingting, they came to Hueco Mundo along the Black Cavity, and accidentally strayed into the Manos Grande forest. Although the number and strength of that group of Shinigami are not weak, this is Shu's lair after all. Facing the endless Manos Grande, no matter how tenacious Shinigami's fighting spirit is, he will inevitably be killed in the end. That's it. One after another fell. In the end, only Asido was left alone. However, he did not leave, but abided by the original 923 agreement and stayed in the Manos Grande forest to continue fighting. This stay is more than 100 years. Relying on will and faith alone, I survived for such a long time, and lived in safety and security. Have to admit, Asido is indeed a ruthless man. My induction should be correct. The aura that came out just now is the fluctuation of Zanpakutō. Could it be that there is another Shinigami coming to Yingsu Forest? Asido's eyes flickered slightly. This kind of thing may not necessarily happen after waiting for 100 years. If there is really no fluctuation, that must be fake. However, after more than 100 years of wear and tear, Asido's heart has long since become numb. Even if they are both Shinigami, he doesn't get too excited either. Let's go and have a look. After silently weighing for a while, Asido sighed and finally made a choice. Leave the cave and follow the source of the sound to find the Shinigami in the Manos Grande forest. This was his temporary thought. Brush. Take advantage of the proficient Shunpo. Arsador quickly left the cave. And he didn't know it. Ling Yun is also on the way. Chapter 158 The Manos Grande that came suddenly. Manos Grande forest. It was pitch black outside the cave, and you could hardly see your fingers. Asido's figure, like a ghost, walked quickly through it. As the distance shortens, the induction becomes clearer and clearer. Captain Class Shinigami. The eyes under the bone mask showed obvious doubts. Asido pondered in doubt. It shouldn't be, even after more than 100 years, the captain of Gote 13 shouldn't be so reckless, right? In fact, this idea, he also thinks it is absurd, but the fact is like this. The addition of multiple attributes made Ling Yun's Reiatsu reach the strength of the captain level. Even at a certain distance. Even if it is not distributed deliberately. Ling Yun's own aura still brings strong oppression. If it weren't for the clear induction before, the familiar Zanpakutō fluctuations. Even Asido has been fighting for more than 100 years in the Manos Grande forest. He didn't dare to leave the cave in a hurry. If it's Vasto Lord, then let's design it directly. At the same time, Ling Yun also walked through the darkness. This ghostly place, is there really infinite space? Although it took 4 days, Ling Yun had already adapted to the darkness. But after staying for a long time, he still felt uncomfortable. Endless darkness. After all, it was too depressing. Fortunately, Reiatsu's perception is strong enough, even if the vision is not clear, Ling Yun is still unimpeded. However, the gradually gathering Manos Grande group around him still made him feel a little bored. And at this time, Ling Yun was shocked. He clearly sensed Asito's breath. I finally met a living person. Ling Yun murmured excitedly, Shinigami Asito, it should be you. Even if we haven't met yet. He still has full confidence in judging the identity of the other party. After all, this kind of ghost place. Really no one can stand it. He should have found out too. Ling Yun temporarily stopped in his tracks. Now that the two sides have been exposed, he doesn't have to hurry. Simply wait in place. Soon after. Sure enough, Ling Yun waited, and Asito showed up on his own initiative. Are you from Division 4? After Asito took the initiative to show up, he looked at it first. Ling Yun's identity was determined by the Team Flower logo of the 4th Division on Ling Yun's shoulder. That's right, I'm the 3rd seat of the 4th Division, Ling Yun. Ling Yun's simple self-introduction. In fact, he has some admiration for Asito. Can endure more than 100 years of darkness. This willpower is really amazing. I didn't expect that after so many years, I could see people from Gote 13 again. Asito took off the bone mask, revealing his true face. He had an emotional expression on his face, as if recalling the past. More than 100 years ago, bits and pieces of Jingleingting immediately came to mind. And you, Ling Yun looked at each other. He recognized the identity of the other party a long time ago, and still asked politely. My name is Asito, and I used to be a Shinigami. Asito's eyes dimmed. Asito, I once heard that there were a group of Shinigami back then, chasing the invading Shu and accidentally strayed into the Manos Grande forest. Are you one of them? Ling Yun tried to bring back the memory of the other party. The reason is simple, he intends to take Asito away. The purpose of coming here in advance is actually just to collect souls and bring enough research materials to the store manager. But since we met, of course I want to help. You guessed it right, I was indeed a Shinigami more than 100 years ago, but that's already in the past. Asito's expression was very calm. Whether it's Shinigami, Manos Grande, or Revenant. Status is no longer important to him. There was nothing left anyway. Correct. The 3rd seat of the 4th team shouldn't be here. Asito's expression changed, and he asked suddenly. Gote 13's Shinigami, rashly appearing in Manos Grande Sensen, this incident in itself is unexpected enough. As for Ling Yun's status, he is still the 3rd seat in the 4th division. This is a bit unreasonable. Even after being away for more than 100 years, Asito is still very clear. As the medical team, the combat power of the 4th team ranks at the end of the 13 teams. Even if it is dispatched, it will follow other teams and perform some logistical duties. It is absolutely impossible to act alone. One thought here. Asito couldn't help feeling puzzled. The outside of the Manos Grande forest. What exactly happened? Because of the frequent invasion of Manos Grande, Room 46 made a decision and decided to launch an expeditionary war against Hueco Mundo. Finally, through the Black Cavity Passage, the expeditionary force was able to descend on Hueco Mundo. Ling Yun quickly gave the answer. I see. Asito suddenly realized. He quickly continued to ask. May I ask, who is the current captain of the 11th division? When this question was raised, Asito looked very serious. Because it's about a friend from his past. Oni Rock Castle Kenpachi. Ling Yun replied. Oh, sure enough, even that adult died. Asito's eyes became dim and empty. More than 100 years ago, when he was a team member, he and Kenpachi were friends at that time. Back then, he was able to survive by luck because of the cutting technique and combat experience taught by that Kenpachi. Now Ling Yun revealed the news, which made him suffer another blow. Asito, this is a rare opportunity, are you willing to go back to Lingting with us? Ling Yun changed the subject in a timely manner. This. After only hesitating for a moment, Asito quickly refused. Just then. But. Asito sighed, shook his head silently, and said, I am already a person of the old era, even if I go back, things are different, so I might as well stay here forever. Ling Yun did not give up, and continued to persuade, with your strength, you can go to any fan team, and you can even serve as an adjutant. Are you really not considering it? He is no longer nostalgic for Jinglingting and Soul Society. Swings of Ijukas. Although Zhao Lizao didn't say it clearly, he politely declined. Being transformed into a dark soul is my proper destination. Boom. Whoa. Ling Yun's pupils shrank suddenly. Unexpectedly, Manos Grande came again. On the surface where the two of them were, there was a loud noise suddenly. This is. Asito was determined. Immediately attracted the attention of the two. Sudden movement. Well, so what? Actually, going back or not doesn't mean much to me, After all, it's been such a long time. Chapter 159 Get Angry, Angry Beast. The loud noise above the surface immediately attracted the attention of the two of them. Breath of Ijukas. Asito's expression tightened, with a premonition of uneasiness. During these 100 years, he explored almost the entire Manos Grande forest. For common virtual, Argillian. Already numb. In the case of Ijukas, I have indeed met, but the number of times can be counted on the fingers. And now that aura on the surface. Significantly stronger than any Manos Grande ever encountered. Even with Ling Yun standing beside him, Asito still felt the pain. Ashido. It was clearly coming our way. Ling Yun sensed that violent aura was obviously getting closer. Obviously their coordinates seemed to have been exposed. But well, the excited expression on his face was in stark contrast to Asito's worry. Ling Yun, let's get out of here first. I'm more familiar with the terrain, so I should be able to get rid of its pursuit. Asito forced a smile. His proposal. Naturally it was rejected. There's no need to leave, just wait here at 450. Ling Yun shook her head confidently. It is impossible to admit counsel. It is impossible to admit cowardice in a lifetime. The soul of Ijukas is obviously more valuable for research than the ordinary Manos Grande. In order to solve Hollow's problem, for the next Hollow experiment. Anyway, put its soul into the absorber. What? Asito was stunned for a moment. Ijukas level Manos Grande, even the usual Shinigami captain. It's not that easy to deal with either. As a member of the medical team, even if Ling Yun has 3 seats. It shouldn't be so inflated. It has only been more than 100 years, has Gote 13 changed? Asito frowned, and looked at Ling Yun with strong doubts. He was even a little skeptical that, degree, was shortened by Ling Yun. It's just a dumbass. Oops. It seems to be misunderstood, but it's okay, just watch from the side later. Feel the strong doubt and suspicion in Asito's eyes. BBBG, Ling Yun laughed it off. In fact, before he joined the team, the words of Unohana Retsu were not counted. The ceiling of the 4th team's combat power is indeed the same. It is normal for Asito to question. What's the meaning? What do you mean I just watch from the sidelines? Asito became more and more confused. He had a strong premonition that Ling Yun was going to make trouble later on. $8. Ling Yun responded by drawing Zanpakutō from his girdle. With a wave of his hand, he directed a slash wave of sword energy toward the ground above. Full level scimitar chopping technique. A pitch black sword pressure, accompanied by the majestic Reiatsu, burst out at an extremely fast speed. Facing Asito's gaze, it directly penetrated the surface, tearing a huge crack in an instant. Manos Grande Forest. This time it was really blown away. After the deafening bang, it was soundless silence. Asito remained silent, the shocked expression on his face had already shown his thoughts. Not just shock, even a little skeptical about life. Nima, a sword pierces the ground. Is this still the 4th team I know? If it weren't for the past 100 years, he would have honed his mentality long ago. I'm afraid Asito is going to scold the street. Ling Yun. Are you really from the 4th division? Asito looked at Ling Yun again, his expression became very complicated. Let alone the 4th team. In his day, the entire 11th team could not find another equally violent person except Kenpachi. Ling Yun is so fierce. Otherwise, who said that members of the 4th division can only Kaido? Ling Yun smiled cheerfully. The upgraded slash itself has such power. So Asito's reaction, he has long been familiar with it. At the same time, the desert above the surface. In this endless desert, there was only endless darkness and the pale moonlight like the skin of a dead man. As the surface is broken down. The sword energy slash wave created by Ling Yun shot straight into the sky like a crescent moon. Suddenly there was a huge commotion. Not far from the hole on the surface, there is a figure exuding a violent breath. What? Aren't Shinigami really stupid to reveal their location on their own initiative? A arrogant and contemptuous voice broke the silence around. This large man has dark skin and black hair. On the top of his head, there are 4 strangely shaped lines, and there are also symmetrical red Madara lines on both sides of his cheeks. If Ling Yun is present, he can be recognized at a glance. Among the later espadas, the serial number ranking is the most special, both the first and the last. Yammy, whose main body is an angry beast. Yammy at this time. The body size is many times larger than that after more than 100 years. Perhaps it is because of deliberately accumulating Reiatsu. Yammy's form at this time looks similar to that of a human. It does not show the original form of the angry beast. 5 days ago, the expedition has just arrived in Hueco Mundo. Back then in the Void Knight Palace, after Zael Aporo provided the information, he got the Skeleton Emperor's order. Yammy and Neutra, leading the army of the Void Palace, marched towards the periphery of Hueco Mundo. But in the middle, because of an altercation, Yammy and Neutra parted ways. Only Temple Mantis was left alone, leading the subordinate officers and Manos Grande to the base camp of the expeditionary army. But Yammy, who was acting alone, happened to pass by this desert. It just happened to sense the fluctuation of Zanpakutō Yanmo, and the Reiatsu emitted by Ling Yun. This is how the previous scene happened. Shinigami. Curled up in the ground like reptiles, I'll crush all your heads. Yammy snarled and stomped. Huge strength is transmitted along the soles of the feet. There was a slight depression in the position where he was standing, and the surroundings suddenly collapsed. The furious aura of the angry beast is vividly displayed. And at this time, clatter. The space above the hole on the surface suddenly twisted like waves. This scene naturally caught Yammy's attention. Shinigami. When he looked down the past, the figures of Ling Yun and Aizen suddenly appeared in the sight range. A Will Eternal Chapter 160. Shinigami. Lousy has been waiting for you for a long time. Within sight of Yammy, the figures of Ling Yun and Aizen appeared. He was taken aback for a while, then bared his teeth and let out a wild smile. Espada. Live to kill, live to kill. Although there is no Arrancar for the time being, Yammy, as a Manos Grande, has no emotional fluctuations, and has been murderous for hundreds of years. With powerful destructive power, he has a unique death form. Anger. It not only represents his thoughts, but also the meaning of Yammy's existence. It is also the source of all power. The appearance of Ling Yun and Aizen completely aroused Yammy's anger. He can't wait to start killing. Yammy. I didn't expect to meet him. Ling Yun muttered inwardly. Even though Yammy didn't have Arrancar, he still recognized it instantly. But let's be honest, Ling Yun even wanted to come up with an ugly song. It's really not that he wants to complain, but Tien Dishan from Yammy Town. Ling Yun. He is no ordinary Manos Grande. Even in the Void Knight Palace, his strength is considered outstanding. After all, I have been in Hueco Mundo for more than 100 years. In addition to staying in the cave, Aizen would often go out to sneak, and collected a lot of information over time. Among them is the Manos Grande of the Night Palace. Yammy, the Manos Grande who was notorious for being too violent. Nature is also included in the information. Haven't waited for Ling Yun's response yet. Yammy showed his killing intent. It seems that luck is not bad. You two don't seem to be that weak. Even though his face was covered with a mask, he could still imagine from this insolent laughter. Yammy's expression at this moment must be a disdainful smile, and his appearance looks hideous and ugly. You want to eat us alone. It seems that Manos Grande lacks not only a heart, but also a brain. Ling Yun smiled disapprovingly. This Yammy. It's okay if it's long and ugly, and it's swollen to the point where it has no edges. It's actually a brother. Facing Ling Yun's merciless ridicule, Yammy immediately became distraught. Damn reptiles. Dare to speak wild words in front of Lousy. Yammy's lungs exploded suddenly. Aizen on the side was speechless again. Facing the menacing Ijukas, instead of running away, he took the initiative to provoke him. If it wasn't for just now, I saw that black crescent slash wave with my own eyes. Aizen will mistakenly think that Ling Yun is giving away the head. Are you irritated like this? It seems that not only lack of brains, but also poor mentality and ability to withstand pressure. Facing Yammy's angry eyes, Ling Yun continued to mock. The mouth is fragrant. For a maniac like Yammy. Immediately had a noticeable effect. Hateful. Lousy is going to kill you. Yammy finally endured it. He appeared in front of Ling Yun in an instant, raising his arms high with murderous intent, his huge fist with clear bones, wrapped around the berserk Reiatsu, and blasted towards Ling Yun suddenly. Yammy's character itself is like this. He has always looked down on the weak, especially the antagonistic Shinigami, who are no different than trash to him. What's more, Yammy's body is still an angry beast. The anger is rampant at this moment. Who punched your guts? Facing Yammy's fist, Ling Yun's face remained unchanged. He stood there leisurely, holding Zanpakutō with one hand, and waved it forward unhurriedly. Immediately afterwards, an unbelievable scene happened. When, accompanied by a crisp sound, Ling Yun received the punch firmly. He stood motionless on the spot, and even the ground under his feet didn't collapse, as if he had completely withstood the force of his fist. Weird scene. The atmosphere suddenly dropped to freezing point. No cuts, no bleeding. The scene Yammy expected didn't happen. Ling Yun stood there unscathed, with a relaxed expression on his face. Relying on Zanpakutō Yanmo, he received Yammy's fist effortlessly, and the figure not only did not retreat in the slightest. Obviously completely withstood the opponent's strength. This. How can that be? Yammy's eyes widened desperately. Under the white bone mask, a look of shock shone in the ferocious vertical pupils. Ask for flowers. A punch with all his strength in rage. Was it taken easily? This result is obviously unacceptable. Being with those rubbish Manos Grande in the Void Knight Palace every day, your self-confidence is bursting. Ling Yun's eyes became sharp. He held Yanmo and stabbed forward, piercing Yammy's fist directly. Well, damn it, you bloody bug. There was a piercing pain in his fist, and Yammy couldn't help but let out a muffled groan. Originally, they were menacing, and they were eyeing Ling Yun and the others. But Yammy himself didn't expect that he suffered a terrible loss as soon as he made a move, and even his arm was almost cut off. It's so frustrating. You can also spit out fragrance. It's a pity that just talking can't change anything. Ling Yun imitated Hiyori's movements, and immediately got up and kicked. Boom. A heavy kick on Yammy's chest made him fly backwards like a heavy shell. Call out. There was a burst of wind. The burly Yammy, like a weak rabbit, is completely controlled by Ling Yun's power. He rolled in midair, and after spinning several times, he fell into the desert in embarrassment. Flesh was broken all over his body, and several ribs were broken. Lousy will crush your bones and trample you into a puddle of flesh. The final result of this battle will still be a fancy fight. Aceto, who was watching the battle, looked dazed. Yammy came out of the ruins with a roar. He ignored the pain caused by the broken bones, and his body burst out with unimaginable strength. It almost fell into a puddle of meat. Yammy was fancy hanged. The roar full of killing intent almost overturned the entire desert. This result was really unexpected. Under his savage trampling, deep pits appeared one after another in the originally uneven desert. There was no wavering in Ling Yun's heart. Trash Shinigami. The strength gap is there. No matter how strong Yammy's killing intent is, he still won't back down in the slightest. He was stunned by the scene in front of him. No. It's useless to rely on recklessness alone. It's the Manos Grande of the Void Palace, and it was abused like a toy. Chapter 161. Huang Yanling leaves the palace. The fight was still going on. Yammy roared and charged. He came so fiercely that he smashed the ground. It's getting closer and closer to Ling Yun. Ling Yun, be careful. Aceto watched with trepidation. In fact, knowing at this moment, he still has some doubts about life. A medical team has 3 seats. Why does it have such a powerful combat power? And now Gote 13, what kind of changes has it experienced? In Aceto's mind, for a while, many doubts emerged. Unknowingly, in this short contact time, Ling Yun showed a difference. It aroused Aceto's curiosity. At this time, Yammy has come to the front. However, his body movements suddenly stopped. The 1-0 fist that hit Ling Yun's head could no longer move forward half a point. What is this? Yammy lowered his head in doubt, and was shocked to find that his body was bound by more than a dozen light sheets. The Luzhong light prison after reaching the full level instantly tied him into a zongzi. This is Shinigami's Kido. You've never seen it before, have you? Ling Yun held Zanpakutō backhand, and Reiatsu kept climbing. Identity exchange between hunter and prey. Yammy, who was originally aggressive, has become a weaker party. Ling Yun completely dominated the battle. Damn. Lousy must kill you. Yammy entered a berserk state, screaming like a runaway roar, and the muscles of his whole body tensed up to ultimate. The power of the angry beast is finally revealed. Looking at the Luzhong light prison that was shaking because of Yammy's struggle, Ling Yun frowned and said, "It seems that I underestimated your brute force." Although the Luzhong light prison on Yammy is cast in the way of abandoning singing. But ordinary Manos Grande, it is absolutely impossible to struggle. Yammy is an exception because the death method he governs is anger. The more angry, the stronger the power. Through eating for a long time, and sleeping and other behaviors, Yammy can continuously store power and burst out through anger. Once in the berserk state, his body will become bigger and bigger, and his Reiatsu and attack power will also be greatly enhanced. This is the characteristic of angry beasts. As predicted. After entering a special berserk state, Yammy's body rapidly swelled in a circle at a speed visible to the naked eye. You won't stand a chance. Ling Yun held Zanpakutō with his backhand. The momentum climbed to the peak in an instant. For Yammy, who is dominated by anger, he doesn't intend to show mercy. Used by the evil god, Wei Wu has exhausted his body. Yan Mo Dark Scythe. Ling Yun released Shihouin without any hesitation. The loud words fell. The Zanpakutō in his hand, with the sound, emitted a dark light. Facing Yammy's venomous eyes, the dark scythe of death took shape. This is Shinigami's Zanpakutō. Under the white bone mask is a fearful gaze. Yammy managed to gain momentum, but suddenly became sluggish. The oppression brought by Yan Mo. It actually made him, as a Manos Grande, feel thrilled. There is a thread missing in the brain itself, and it is natural to feel fear. Facing death, anyone will rebel. Yammy is no exception. Get angry, angry beast. A Reiatsu as deep as an abyss erupted like a volcano. Yammy unleashes all the anger she's been building up. The majestic Reiatsu beam of light shot straight into the sky, and a crimson light burst out suddenly. The robe on the upper body turned into dust, and the dark muscles squirmed quickly. Yammy's body grew rapidly, after releasing all the rage. Yammy's appearance has changed drastically. The huge and majestic body is like a scourge. While the mandible was opening and closing, the horizontal and vertical fangs were exposed. The thick arms are covered with spike-like bones. Most notable, it is those 12 thick legs. Every time Yammy took a step, the ground was easily crushed. The desert within a radius of 1 kilometer collapsed into ruins as he turned into a wrathful beast. Is this what he looks like? The volume is too big. Looking at Yammy who was covering the sky, Aceto swallowed. Compared to Yammy's size, he's like an ant. Who can stand this? Boom. Yammy just took a step, and the entire desert shook violently, even setting off a sand feast. You don't need to waste any energy to deal with you garbage. Yammy raised his arms high in a murderous intent, and smashed down with huge fists with great force. Ling Yun, get out of the way. The body was shrouded in the shadow of fists, and Aceto shouted anxiously. It's too late. Ling Yun silently shook his head. In the face of Yammy's furious punch, even if he reacted immediately, it is also difficult to avoid it. But well, Ling Yun doesn't even intend to dodge. Huang Yan Ling leaves the palace, accompanied by a light drink. Ling Yun continuously injected a large amount of Reiatsu into Yan Mo. Boom. The power of thunder erupted instantly. The resplendent and shining thunder, together with the jet black light, shot into the midair together. At first glance, it looks like a black canopy spreading rapidly across the sky. The momentum is extremely loud. Thunder Zanpakutō. 3.7. Aceto's pupils shrank suddenly. In his day, there were not many thunder-type Zanpakutō. The most famous of these is Chojiro Sasaki's Yan Ling Wan. Although I haven't seen Yan Ling Wan's Bankai with my own eyes. But seeing the black thunder in the sky, Aceto always felt something strange. But in the interval of his contemplation, thick thunderclouds in the midair were deformed irregularly. 11 bright black thunder lights fell from the sky at an extremely fast speed. They locked onto Yammy's figure with incomparable precision. Hateful. Yammy's fist stopped abruptly. Its punching speed is always inferior to that of Thunderbolt. Finally, 11 thunderbolts bombed indiscriminately. The pitch-black thunder quickly overwhelmed Yammy's figure. The situation was reversed in an instant. Chapter 162 Kenpachi's Inheritance. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Reclama. Ling Yun. Is this really just Shikai? How come I feel more like Bankai's intensity? Aceto stared blankly at the sky. Within his line of sight, there are densely packed black thunders. Originally Hueco Mundo was eternal night. Now under the embellishment of black thunder, it reveals a Shaosei atmosphere. And the cold wind hits, making people shiver even more. But, Ling Yun didn't respond immediately. Instead, a strange expression appeared on his face. In fact, this is not because of Aceto's removal. It was because the system notification sounded again. Ding. A warm reminder. A triggering task will appear. Do you want to choose it immediately? In the case of a disagreement, random missions are triggered again. No way. Can this trigger random missions? This time even Ling Yun was dumbfounded. He subconsciously looked at Aceto. With the look of this old man just now, the system prompt immediately sounded at 11. Could it really have something to do with him? Forehead. Suddenly stared at by Ling Yun. Aceto felt embarrassed. He thought he had said something wrong. The two stared at each other. The atmosphere suddenly became very awkward. At the same time, with a puzzled mind, Ling Yun opened the task information bar. Open black lens bracket random mission. The legacy of Kenpachi close black lens bracket. Task content. Persuade Aceto to leave the Manos Grande forest and bring him back to the Soul Factory. Open black lens bracket mission reward. Kenpachi's ability close black lens bracket. After reading it carefully, Ling Yun's expression immediately changed again and again. Sure enough, every random task is unpredictable. Ling Yun muttered excitedly. The legacy of Kenpachi. Just the name alone whets the appetite. Especially the quest rewards are even more direct. Cut Yashiki Kenpachi. 7th generation Kenpachi of the 11th team. In Gote 13 that year, he enjoyed a very high popularity and left many legendary deeds. He killed Vasto Lord alone, and was also invited by Team Zero. At the same time, he is also one of Aceto's old friends. This is also the key to triggering random missions. Aceto, may I ask, how much do you know about Kenpachi? Ling Yun put away his thoughts and looked sideways at Aceto. To be honest, his understanding of Kenpachi is only superficial. As for the opponent's ability, Ling Yun really doesn't know much about it. I used to be old friends with him, so it can be said that we know each other well. Suddenly memories came back, and Aceto felt nostalgic. But he still felt that something was wrong, and asked back, Ling Yun, why are you suddenly involved in Mr. Kayashiki's matter? No, I just heard it suddenly, a legend passed down by the Soul Society. It is said that Tsuruyashiki-sama once beheaded Manos Grande, right? Ling Yun changed the subject in a timely manner. That's right, when I was still in Seraiti, Master Kayashiki did accomplish such a feat. Aceto's emotions became more and more agitated. Topics related to old friends. It keeps bringing back memories of him. Zanpakutō Hungry Corridor. The Hungry Corridor of Lord Takuyashiki is a rare creature Zanpakutō. With a tone of admiration, Aceto narrated everything about Kenpachi. Biology Department Zanpakutō. Ling Yun raised his eyebrows. In Gote 13, Zanpakutō, the biology department, is indeed very rare. What impresses him the most is Sister Hua's Shizuku Coffin Kuritsuchi Mayuri's Jizo. Objectively speaking, Zanpakutō, the department of biology, can be regarded as a relatively moderate category. The upper limit is high and the lower limit is low. It still depends on the owner of the Zanpakutō. The ability to be able to kill the Watt level Manos Grande corridor must be very strong. Ling Tian continued to ask. That's right, the Shikai in the Hungry Corridor has the ability to wipe out Manos Grande in a large area. Aceto nodded. What about Bankai? Ling Yun was a little moved. Once the task reward is obtained, it means that he will usher in the third Bankai. Moreover, Yan Mo's attribute has an additional, biology department. Bankai's words, I don't know very well. Aceto said with a helpless wry smile, according to Mr. Toriyashiki himself, his Bankai seems to be too powerful, so he was ordered not to release it at will. Except for the captain and a few others, few people should have seen his Bankai. Aceto's words. It made Ling Yun ecstatic. Strong enough to prohibit release. It's done. Ling Yun became more determined. Complete random quests anyway. Bring Aceto back to Jingling Court. Ling Yun. Even if you know this information, it doesn't seem to be of any help to you right now. Aceto asked in bewilderment. Actually, I'm just curious, after all, that is the former Kenpachi. Ling Yun randomly found an excuse to circle around. Okay, let's focus on what's in front of us. Aceto did not delve into it, and quickly shifted his attention. The two waited silently for the thunder to dissipate. At the same time, not far from Zai Palace, on a pure white desert 780, Aizen's figure flashed past. Ejuka's breath gone so soon. Aizen stopped gracefully. At this time, the eyes under the black-rimmed glasses no longer had any gentle expression. There is only appalling indifference. Using Kyoka Suigetsu's illusion, after leaving the base camp of the Expeditionary Army, Aizen has been heading towards the center of Hueco Mundo, getting closer and closer to the virtual Night Palace. Not long ago, the moment Yammy released anger. Even at a great distance, with his extraordinary Reiatsu perception, Aizen still sensed the fluctuations. Of course, with his vision, he naturally looked down on Ejuka's. But, the release of Bankai Huang Yan Lingli Palace. It has attracted the attention of Aizen. Sure enough, I didn't guess wrong. This wave should be Zanpakutō Yan Ling Wan's Bankai. In Aizen's dark and deep pupils, there was an unpredictable look. He turned around and looked in that direction. Then he pushed his glasses slightly, and muttered in a low voice, according to the records in the ancient books, if I guessed correctly, it should be the location of the Manos Grande forest. Shihouin Ling Yun, should you be the one to release Bankai? Aizen saw the truth in a few words. Chapter 163 Are you the king of Hueco Mundo? At the same time, the most central of Hueco Mundo. Void Night Palace. Disappeared. Yammy's Reiatsu has disappeared. Just that moment, not only Aizen, but as far away as the Void Night Palace, all the Manos Grande entrenched, even the Skeleton Emperor. All are aware of Yammy's Reiatsu. This open-air fortress was already very depressing. Now that Yammy Reiatsu suddenly disappeared, the atmosphere immediately became like a backwater. All Manos Grande is in a mess. Zael Aporo. Is Neutra still unreachable? Baragan on the throne exudes majesty. His voice echoed in the hall, sounding like death knell. Dressed as a research scholar, Zael Aporo stepped out of the queue. He touched the glasses-shaped mask, drew an evil smile on his mouth, and said, Great Emperor, there is no accident on Neutra's side, I have already contacted him before. Enlightenment. And what about Yammy? The palm of the bone was placed on the seat handle, and Baragan opened and closed his jaw, making a quiet and hollow sound. To be reasonable, with the temper of the Skeleton Emperor, he really wouldn't take the Expeditionary Army seriously. Originally, Baragan wanted to conquer the army himself, but under the persuasion of his subordinates, he finally gave up the idea. But, the sudden disappearance of Yammy Reiatsu let him smell a hint of crisis. This is not very clear. It is said that on the way out, he had an argument with Neutra, and then left without authorization. Zael Aporo sneered, the fluctuation that was reported just now should be in the Manos Grande forest, but I didn't expect the Shinigami to invade there. Manos Grande forest. After all, they are just a group of reptiles, and they dare not set foot in the Void Night Palace. The Skeleton Emperor made a sound of contempt. In fact, from beginning to end, he looked down on Shinigami. And the Manos Grande forest, that kind of remote place, Baragan doesn't bother to set foot. Therefore, in the eyes of the Skeleton Emperor, the news of Yammy's death is actually not important at all. He was more looking for an opportunity to start a full-scale war. Hueco Mundo's life is boring after all. Baragan sat on top of a throne with a crown on his head. He is like a master, with a look of contempt for all living beings in his empty and formless eyes. Long live the Emperor! Long live the Emperor! Long live the Emperor! The army of Manos Grande below the throne continued to cheer wildly, as if singing the day of Baragan. Zai Palace Fortress, filled with an eerie atmosphere. Pato. This phenomenon lasted only half a sound. Because of the arrival of an uninvited guest, all the voices stopped abruptly. First meet. Are you the king of Hueco Mundo? That magical voice spread throughout every corner of the fortress. Sudden misfortune. Suddenly a riot broke out. Who are you? The first to spot this unexpected guest. Naturally, the Skeleton Emperor on the throne. He looked directly at the entrance of Zai Palace, and made a questioning sound like thunder. On the black Shiba outfit, there is an armband of the 5th Division, with thick bangs hanging down in front of his forehead. The black-rimmed glasses on the bridge of the nose add a touch of scholarly atmosphere. That's right. Uninvited guests who appeared suddenly. Just left base camp a few days ago and headed to Aizen in the center of Hueco Mundo. The reason why he participated in the expedition was for this moment. Find out the truth about the Void Knight Palace. Shinigami. Shinigami actually took the initiative to come to the Void Palace. After a short period of shock, the entire Zai Palace completely boiled. The appearance of Aizen detonated the atmosphere of the audience. Even Zael Aporo, the pervert who has always disdained to be on the team with Manos Grande and is obsessed with scientific research, also cast a curious look at Aizen. In his opinion, a Shinigami is undoubtedly an excellent experimental material. Judging from the first impression alone, Aizen seems very unusual. But the strange thing is, on his body, there is no white Haori, obviously not a captain-level Shinigami. So here comes the problem. Neither is the captain-level Shinigami, but hastily came to Zai Palace. Isn't this giving away the head? The sudden appearance of Aizen is like a mystery. The atmosphere suddenly became weird. Even if I tell you the name, it doesn't make any sense to you, does it? Ignoring the gazes from all directions, Aizen took a steady step. Even if gathered around, almost the entire Hueco Mundo, the most brutal group of causes. Aizen's expression remained unchanged. Even Baragan, who was sitting on the skeleton throne, was also skeptical. In front of Aizen's aura, it seems that he is no longer the king of the virtual circle. It's like being reduced to the ants, he said. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. Break into the Zai Palace without authorization, and dare to speak in such an arrogant tone in front of the emperor. The Manos Grande troops on the left and right sides couldn't restrain their killing intent. Before waiting for Baragan's order, he rushed towards Aizen with killing intent. What happened next seemed predictable. Faced with Manos Grande swarming, Aizen will be torn apart and will end up in pieces. In fact, it is true. Aizen, standing at the gate of the fortress, had no time to resist. Just a few seconds. The same thing has happened countless times. The end is terrible. Anyone who breaks into Zai Palace and threatens to provoke will end up in exactly the same end. A mere reptile dares to break into my palace. Wang Hao. Aizen's body was torn apart. Baragan let out a disdainful laugh. Under the night, the pale moonlight shone on the ground. Just when all Manos Grande, including Skeleton Lord, thought the farce was over. Shatter. Kyoka Suigetsu. With Aizen's death, the Zai Palace fortress, which was originally boiling, has once again restored the former dead man. Aizen's corpse's blood foam, accompanied by the pungent bloody smell, gradually disappeared with the howling cold wind. The white skeleton palm, leaning against the head to support the head, looks boring in every possible way. Sabajwang, along with Zanpakutō, was completely crushed. Aizen's voice that shouldn't be there. In the past hundreds of years, even thousands of years, in the long years. The dead, Aizen, in his eyes, are no different from trash. But it rang again. Chapter 164 Zanpakutō Hungry Corridor. Shatter. Kyoka Suigetsu. Aizen's voice, which should have died with him, will never sound again. Things happen out of the ordinary. With this voice. And his stalwart voice. Neat bangs, complete dead bully outfit. Under the thick black-rimmed glasses, there was an indifferent gaze. The appearance of Aizen is not any different from when he first appeared. He is still standing there, but in his right hand, he is holding Zanpakutō Kyoka Suigetsu. The smooth blade was covered with blood. The fresh blood that had been floating in the air, making the air pungent, seemed to come from here. Zanpakutō Kyoka Suigetsu. Apparently a round of harvesting took place. How is this possible? Aren't you already dead? Although there is no flesh and blood on the face. But through a heavy tone, you can still clearly feel Baragan's emotions at the moment. When Aizen appeared, as the king of Hueco Mundo, he felt a creepy feeling. King of the unknown Hueco Mundo. Being able to rule the entire Hueco Mundo, I have to praise you, you are 480 colors better than I imagined. Meet Baragan's blank stare. Aizen walked gracefully towards the skeleton throne step by step. On that mature and stable face, there was still the softness of the past, as if it was the familiar good old man. But, in the pitch-black pupils, there was a shocking indifference. Two completely different expressions appeared on Aizen at the same time, but it seemed so natural. I asked you what the hell is going on. Baragan growled sullenly. I see, it must be because of Zanpakutō. It was also short-lived astonishment. Unlike the furious Baragan, Zael Aporo analyzed calmly. He gasped, Shinigami, I didn't expect you to deceive everyone. Zael Aporo knew it well. Whether it's a corpse or blood. Everything is a lie. All the pictures are dominated by Aizen, deliberately let them see the illusion. And the root cause of all this. It is Zanpakutō in the hands of Aizen. Interesting, seeing the truth so quickly, it's not in vain that I deliberately spared your life. Aizen looked at Zael Aporo, showing a wicked smile. What's the meaning? Zael Aporo is creepy. Just being glanced at by Aizen, he broke out in a cold sweat. As a mad scientist, his personality tends to be extreme, and he often does cruel deeds. When facing Aizen, Zael Aporo's performance is more like a younger brother. Even if he tried his best to hide it, I can't hide the fear in my heart. If it weren't for the Skeleton King, Zanpakutō would be terrified of ultimate. Do not understand. Actually, this is also normal. After all, living in Hueco Mundo, there are too many things that you can't understand. Meeting all eyes, Aizen held Zanpakutō in his backhand. The next moment, boom, there was a sound like a broken mirror. I saw strong waves in the surrounding space. Immediately afterwards, it collapsed, shattered into one piece after another, until finally completely disappeared. How is this possible? After a brief trance, Baragan, Zanpakutō, and the remaining subordinate officers all exclaimed in disbelief. The picture presented in front of my eyes is completely different from what I have seen before. Originally standing on the left and right sides of the palace, the densely packed Manos Grande army turned into a pile of mutilated corpses. The mask was broken and blood flowed like a river. The entire Zai Palace fortress seems to have experienced a massacre. And all this BBAE happened just in an instant. With the special ability of Kyoka Suigetsu, and the power that almost stands at the apex of Shinigami, Aizen is on his own. Easily slaughtered all of Baragan's troops. The power of Shinigami dominated the entire Void Knight Palace fortress. Damn, damn, damn. Aggrieved to the point of Ultimate's roar, it suddenly came from Baragan's mouth. He looks like a desperate dog. Sitting on the skeleton throne, he could only watch helplessly as his subordinates were brutally slaughtered by Aizen. This bad breath is unbearable. A breath of death. Baragan raised the palm of the skeleton, exuding a deadly black air. It contains the power of aging, and it reveals the same Shaosei as the Yongye above the Zai Palace. Whether it's Shinigami or Manos Grande, regardless of identity, regardless of origin, there is no difference in front of me, all of them are as small as reptiles. Baragan let out a maniacal laugh. This was the first time in hundreds of years that he felt threatened. The majesty of the great emperor. Never allow this to happen. It seems that you still don't quite understand the power gap between us. In the deep eyes, the breath of death is reflected. Aizen's expression remained unchanged. Boom. The majestic Reiatsu standing at the top of the Shinigami. It almost crushed the entire sky. The air wailed, and even the breath of death fell apart in an instant. The other side. Manos Grande Forest. The cave where Aceto lives. Congratulations, host, for completing the random mission, Legacy of Kenpachi. Mission reward, Kenpachi's ability. With the system prompt beeping. Ling Yun, who was sipping hot tea, almost sprayed Aceto in the face. Although mentally prepared, but at this moment, he was still ecstatic. Zanpakutō Hungry Corridor. One of the rare Zanpakutō creatures that devour enemies by summoning creatures. There were many legends in those days. Acquired this power by accident. Ling Yun's mood became better. This time I came to the Manos Grande Forest, the original intention was to collect virtual souls. Unexpectedly, by mistake, he met Aceto unexpectedly, and also awakened a new ability. There is hardly anything luckier than this. Of course. In order to persuade Aceto to leave, Ling Yun almost drooled, and then barely succeeded in completing the task. Thankfully the end result didn't disappoint. Chapter 165 The End of the Era. Hueco Mundo Outskirts. The base camp of the expeditionary force. Why did Manos Grande suddenly retreat? A voice full of doubts sounded, breaking the dull atmosphere of the camp. Love Aikawa, Muguruma Kensai. The only two captains of the expeditionary force held their respective Zanpakutō in their hands, and the white captain's haori was stained with crimson blood. Apparently just had a big fight. The Manos Grande of the Void Knight Palace is nothing more than that. Hiyori stepped on the flip-flops and said with some disdain. In the past few days, because she couldn't find Ling Yun, she became very anxious. No matter how much he trusted Ling Yun, Hiyori's mentality burst because he didn't see anyone for a long time. If it wasn't for other people to stop her, she might have plunged into the desert long ago. In Xiaotaimai's heart, finding the missing Ling Yun is more important than anything else. Hiyori, it seems that you are in a much better mood. You are not as desperate as you were a few days ago. Yadomaru Lisa teased. Lisa-chan, stop sarcasm there, and worry about yourself too. Hiyori curled her lips arrogantly. But having said that, if Ling Yun is still there should be no casualties. Yadomaru Lisa glanced behind. At the point where her eyes fell, there was a neat row of white tents, and there were a roomful of wounded inside. The past few days, the Manos Grande army led by Neutra came all the way from the Night Palace and launched a fierce attack on the expeditionary army. The two sides clashed with each other. Shinigami and Manos Grande fought fiercely. Thanks to the support of the 4th Squadron, which ensured the maximum casualties, they were able to successfully repel the Manos Grande army. Of course, after all, the environment of Hueco Mundo is harsh, and the sky is dark and eternal night. If you stay in this kind of place for a long time, no matter how determined you are, it will inevitably be affected. In addition, in the first few days, the siege has already been carried out once, and the original goal has basically been completed. Therefore, within the expeditionary force, the call to return to the Soul Society is growing every day. Leave the Hueco Mundo. It's already a done deal. Don't worry, Ling Yun will come back, let's wait patiently for one more day. Sui Feng made a rare statement. She was the only one who held firm belief in Ling Yun among all the people present. Having been abused by Ling Yun several times before, Sui Feng recognized his strength from the bottom of his heart. She always firmly believes that Ling Yun, who has the strength of a captain, will never encounter accidents. Vice Captain Sui Feng is right, let's wait patiently. Love Akawa nodded. The originally dignified atmosphere gradually became relaxed as everyone talked. At the same time, Hueco Mundo outskirts, two figures walked quickly through the desert. After leaving the Manos Grande forest, Ling Yun and Aceto headed towards the base camp. Along the way, the two kept talking, and their relationship became more and more familiar. After changing his mind, Aceto turned into 100,000 wise, constantly asking about the current situation of the Soul Society. Ling Yun answers all questions. From Rukongai to Jing Lingting, they told Aceto almost everything they could say at once. I didn't expect that Gote 13 has changed so much, and there is almost no familiar old friend. Aceto sighed. After all, after more than 100 years, it is normal for Shinigami to be updated. But for Aceto, he has to bear an extra loneliness. It's okay, everyone is very enthusiastic, and you will get involved soon. Ling Yun comforted with a smile. Maybe, if there is a choice, I plan to choose the 11th team. Aceto spoke his mind. Understood, you will get what you want, and you don't have to think too much about it. Ling Yun smiled. I hope, when I return to Soul Society this time, there must be a lot of discomfort, and maybe it will trouble you in the future. Aceto forced a smile. It's okay, in Jingling Court, as long as it's not too much, I can help to some extent. Ling Yun blinked leisurely. With the power of the Shihouin family, meeting the needs of daily life is no problem at all. Even if Aceto didn't say anything, Ling Yun still had his own plan. If a talent like Aceto maintains a good relationship, he will definitely be useful in the future. Bringing him back to the Soul Society was more than just a reward. After all, after more than 100 years of fighting in the Manos Grande forest, he still has the strength of an adjutant. Definitely a reliable helper. Ask for flowers. By the way, let me ask you a question, you should be born in the noble family of Jingling Court, right? Aceto asked curiously. You guessed it right, Shihouin should have heard of it. A cunning flashed across Ling Yun's eyes. Until now, he still has not disclosed his identity. No way, you are from the Four Nobles. Aceto was dumbfounded. Not only now, but in his time, the four great nobles were in full swing. Aceto has been fascinated by their prestige since he was a child. This moment is bound to be a shock. Shihouin Ling Yun, please give me more advice in the future. Ling Yun showed a faint smile. Judging from Aceto's expression, Ling Yun knew in his heart that he was sure of the other party. Shihouin Ling Yun. Aceto pondered in a daze. He finally understands why Ling Yun is so special. Instantly kill Ajukas and blast the Manos Grande forest. Various deeds that happened before, explained with, Shihouin. Still barely acceptable. The other side, not far from the base camp, another desert in the southwest. Hueco Mundo. It's much weaker than imagined. The so-called king of the virtual circle is just a frog with a bottom. Aizen stood in midair, with dark and deep eyes, without any emotional fluctuations. He almost set off with Ling Yun and the others. While leaving the Manos Grande forest, leave the Void Palace fortress at the same time. Before leaving, Aizen carried out a bloodbath, and those Manos Grande who were not popular were all killed by Kyoka Suigetsu's butcher's knife. Only Baragan, Zael Aporo, and a handful of Manos Grande and subordinate officers survived. Although the power of aging is terrifying, it can even be said to be almost invincible. But, fighting in the Shinigami world, even though the Zanpakutō abilities are different. But it is essentially a confrontation between Reiatsu. Aizen's Reiatsu, grinding. Therefore, the breath of death cannot pose a threat to him. This is also the result of Aizen's unilateral massacre. For a long time in the past, the Void Palace, which was regarded as a sacred place, is no longer the territory of Manos Grande. Its owners are the men who stand at the apex of the Shinigami. Aizen Sosuke Bu. Chapter 166 Guy comes back. Time flies. 3 days passed in a blink of an eye. After a long journey, Ling Yun and Aceto finally returned to the base camp. It's really not easy. There were many times on the way, and I almost got lost. Ling Yun stood on the sand dunes and looked into the distance, looking at the densely packed white tents, he relaxed and breathed a sigh of relief. Not to mention the other team members, even he has had enough. Hueco Mundo's endless night, if you stay for a long time, you will really have psychological problems. For Brother Aceto, Ling Yun admires him from the bottom of his heart. A person hid in the Manos Grande forest, facing the endless void, and endured for more than 100 years. To say he is ruthless is an understatement. It should be more appropriate to describe it as wolf extermination. So many people came to Gote 13. Aceto was a little surprised. Back then, his group of companions was only 200 to 300 people, which was a little worse than the expeditionary force. It's not too much, it's just a few teams coming due to the restrictions of the Black Tunnel. Ling Yun had already expected Asito's reaction. A person who has lived alone for more than 100 years with darkness all year round suddenly saw a large number of living Shinigami. In fact, no matter who you are, you will have mood swings. It seems that the Soul Society has indeed undergone many changes over the past 100 years. Asito sighed again. In just a few days, the number of times he shook his head and sighed has exceeded that of the previous 100 years. Asito, cheer up, you should be happy. Ling Yun patted him on the shoulder. Well, you're right, my emotions have indeed turned negative. Asito nodded. After taking a deep breath, he forced a smile. The figures of the two disappeared quickly and quickly approached the base camp. At the same time, the interior of the expeditionary base camp. Have you sensed it? There are two breaths approaching rapidly. Muguruma Kensai, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly got up and walked to the window. Through the gap of the window, overlooking the sandy beach in the distance. In that direction, he clearly sensed that two uninvited guests were rapidly approaching. I sensed it too. Me too. The captain-level Shinigami present all looked at that position. Every time a period of time passes, the pressure induction becomes clearer and clearer. In the end, almost everyone showed the same expression. Ling Yun. Great, he is still alive. After all, they were all old faces before, and every captain-level Shinigami present immediately recognized Ling Yun's aura. The originally oppressive atmosphere suddenly eased down. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. If it wasn't Ling Yun, but Ijuka's, or even Vasto Lord. Then the expeditionary force is in jeopardy. Don't be too happy, didn't you find it? The other Reiatsu is very strange, and I have never met it before. Love Akawa's eyes narrowed in a cautious arc. He has always been thoughtful, and has been paying attention to Asito's Reiatsu. Could it be Shinigami too? Muguruma Kensai frowned. Kenzi, what are you talking about? Besides our expeditionary force, how could there be other Shinigami in Hawako Mundo? Yadomaru Lisa said disapprovingly. Do not. It's true. Look over there. Hiyori pointed into the distance with a dumbfounded expression. At the end of her line of sight, the figures of Ling Yun and Asito gradually enlarged from two black dots. Is it really Shinigami? Yadomaru Lisa was completely speechless. Even Sui Feng and Nozomi couldn't believe it. The deadly domineering outfit on Asito was particularly conspicuous under the moonlight. It's interesting. After being missing for so many days, he brought back a Shinigami. Ling Yun always brings surprises. Love Akawa immediately looked at her with admiration. The atmosphere in the base camp suddenly became hot. Soon after a while of talking, Ling Yun shared her experience during this period, including Asito's situation. Everyone naturally warmly welcomed Asito's arrival. In their view, a wild Shinigami is simply a treasured species. Everyone frantically watching. Treat Asito like a monkey. This made Ling Yun in a dilemma, and immediately felt very embarrassed. Ahem. Should we retreat too? Without any choice. Ling Yun can only change the subject. Actually, the task of clearing and suppressing has been successfully completed long ago. We have been waiting for your news. Love Akawa grabbed a handful of Afro's head and showed a kind smile. Compared to the hot-tempered Muguruma Kensai, he is easier to talk to. I'm sorry to keep you waiting for so long. Ling Yun, let's skip these polite words, since everyone is safe and sound, let's go back to Soul Society together. Hiyori, as always, is like an arrogant little sister. In fact, during this period of time, the degree of worry in her heart was even stronger than others. Of course, in addition to Hiyori, there is also Sui Feng who is cold and cold. Every day, apart from fighting Shu, she went to the 4th Division to inquire about news. The disappearance of Ling Yun made her feel empty. All unknowingly. Besides, however, Sui Feng's joy is no less than that of Hiyori. Aizen's attention to Ling Yun has risen to another level. Relying on the ability of 5 senses hypnosis. Everyone get ready. Aizen is also watching in the dark. Experienced this Hawako Mundo expedition. Although experienced the attack of Manos Grande, many team members died unexpectedly. However, compared to the situation of the suppression, this expedition can be regarded as a perfect success. Soon after some reorganization, all the fan teams gathered together. Completely 2.601 found that Aizen ever left. He stared at Ling Yun silently, a glint of elusive light flashed in his dark and deep eyes. Now Ling Yun has returned safely, although the surface is still as cold as ice. It's time to return to Soul Society. The location of the Black Cavity Channel. And waiting for this group of expeditionary troops is the glory bestowed by the entire Jingling Court. After leaving Zai Palace, he arrived at the base camp before Ling Yun and the others. Chapter 167. Can we get rid of this bad money? The next day. Jingling Court, Baidaemon. Big Keto Long. The Black Cavity Channel suddenly fluctuated. A voice from the Keto team broke the long-lost tranquility here. Since the last time the Black Cavity Channel was forcibly opened, the Keto people have stayed here, responsible for maintaining the stability of the Black Cavity Channel. It's been a while, and although there is some freshness at the beginning, it will get boring after a long time. If it wasn't for the Commander-in-Chief's order, he would never have left without authorization. I'm afraid that many people want to find opportunities to be lazy. Huh, are you finally coming back? Big Kido holds Tessai long and wears a dark blue kimono. He walked to the bottom of the black cavity passage, next to a special instrument, and frowned and glanced at it. He saw that the monitoring value on the instrument suddenly fluctuated abnormally, and the value broke through the normal standard line, which immediately aroused his great attention. It's about the same time as the agreed time. It seems that Hawako Mundo is going well. Tessai Tsukubishi observed it again and again, and finally confirmed the safety of the expeditionary force. After his words fell, the audience burst into cheers. For the Kido team members, as long as the expeditionary force returns smoothly, they can take a long vacation. After so long, it finally came to a good result. All immediately cheered up. Listen up, everyone. According to the original method, open the knot ghost again. Tessai Tsukubishi ordered. Yes. Big Kido long. The Kido echoed in unison. Led by Tessai Tsukubishi, the Kido congregation began the ceremony. Boom. Accompanied by loud and piercing noises, a special enchantment was activated. A majestic Reiatsu beam of light shot straight into the sky with great momentum. Shrouded in the azure blue light, the vast power of time and space emerges. It won't take long. The black cavity channel was completely stabilized. The fluctuations are quite strong. Tessai Tsukubishi raised his eyebrows, and let out a little surprise. Sure enough, as I expected, this expedition has achieved its goal, and the casualties are not very serious. Big Kido, what should we do next? The other team members breathed a sigh of relief. Be patient. The expeditionary force will return to Jinglingting soon. As Tessai Tsukubishi ordered, everyone was eagerly waiting. All are waiting for the return of the expeditionary force. At the same time, Gotei 13 team building. After receiving the news from the Kido people, the captains headed by Captain Yamamoto, as well as many subordinate officers and soldiers, rushed to Baidaemon very quickly. Tisk tisk tisk, I went to Hawako Mundo for a while, Hiyori should be more honest when he comes back, right? Hiroko Shinji put his head on the lid of the pot and showed a flirtatious smile. Captain Hiroko, why am I listening? Do you have a little bit of yin and yang? Are you not afraid of being heard by Captain Hiroko? Yoruichi fanned the flames from the sidelines. While speaking, she deliberately raised the volume. I'm afraid Hikafuna Kiryu, who is not far away, can't hear him. Hey, Captain Yoruichi, you're being unkind, aren't you? Hiroko Shinji nearly choked on his saliva. Although he has always been foolish, he will still pay attention to his words and deeds in front of the old school captain. No, just as Hiroko Shinji spoke, he felt a strange gaze. Captain Hiroko, regardless of your status and position, as long as you are a member of the expeditionary force, you are a hero who has come back from Gai. For their contribution, we should be more enthusiastic, right? Hikafuna Kiryu returned to normal, a gentle and kind smile appeared on his heavily made up and glamorous face. Her words hit the nail on the head. Hiroko Shinji, who choked directly, was speechless. Captain Hikafuna, you really care about your subordinates. The members of the 12th Division must be very relieved to hear that. Hiroku Shunsui let out a heroic laugh. It seems that a celebration banquet will be held. Jashiro Yukitaki's face was pale, he just said a few words, and then began to cough continuously. The medicine jar really lived up to its reputation. Everyone be quiet. The fluctuations in the black cavity channel are becoming more and more obvious, let's get ready for their return. The captain is leaning on a rattan cane with both hands, the majestic voice spreads through the Taoist gate. Talk with old hair. The atmosphere in Baidaemon immediately reached a climax. Soon after, below the black cavity channel, there is an open space specially reserved for the expeditionary force. With the closure of the black cavity passage, a large group of figures stood densely. Under the waiting of everyone, the expeditionary force finally arrived smoothly. Returning to the jingling court, looking at the familiar environment. Many soldiers had tears in their eyes, and noises rang out one after another. Finally back to jingling court. Compared to a ghostly place like Hawako Mundo, this place is more comfortable. It's great, I can finally feel the warmth of the sun, it's so warm. I never want to go to Hawako Mundo again in my life. Even though they returned safely, most of the expeditionary army still had a lot of emotions. Everything that happened is like experiencing the rest of your life after a catastrophe, leaving behind memories that will last a lifetime. It's still comfortable in the sun. Among the crowd of the 4th Division, Ling Yun, standing at the front, stretched comfortably. His appearance quickly attracted attention. 587. Unohana Retsu, Katetsu Aizen, and the rest of the 4th Squad officers came here soon. But the soldiers behind him started to make trouble. He alone took on the duties of the entire 4th Division. Thanks to the 3rd seat Ling Yun, all the wounded were healed on the last day. One after another, Ling Yun felt a little embarrassed when he heard it. Sister Hua showed meticulous care. Sister Hua will inevitably feel worried. Ling Yun, long time no see. Are you okay this time? Sister Hua smiled gracefully. The environment of Hueco Mundo is harsh and full of crises, and no one can tell what accidents will happen. Can we get rid of this bad money? The moment we met, it disappeared. In fact, during this period of time, her inner concern was no less than that of others. But well, although these are facts, Captain Unohana Retsu, everything is going well with Hueco Mundo, you don't have to worry about it during this time. Feeling the care of Sister Wa, Ling Yun nodded with a smile. The team members began to flatter when they disagreed. All worries. 3 seats, Ling Yun, went to the Manos Grande forest alone, not only wiped out a lot of Shu, but also brought back an old companion. But it's a bit too exaggerated to publicize it in public. Chapter 168. The plan finally came true. Soon after, the entire Betaimon square regained its tranquility. The 13 squadrons were arranged neatly and orderly in piles. All of them cast eyes of awe and respect towards Captain Yamamoto. Everyone of the expeditionary army. The success of this Hueco Mundo expedition is all thanks to everyone. Although the captain is still old, he looks extraordinarily capable. His voice sounded like a bell, spreading to every corner of Betaimon. The commander-in-chief is overrated. Shinigami's duty is to purify evil, which itself is our duty. When facing the captain, only Love Aikawa and Muguruma Kensai, the 2 captains of the team, are more natural. As for the other adjutants and chief executives, they all remain silent in awe, appearing very reserved in front of the old man. I think what Luo Wu said is right. Although sacrifices are inevitable, this expedition to Hueco Mundo can be regarded as a contribution to the Soul Society. Muguruma Kensai also made a statement. Well, you have such awareness. The old man is very pleased. Eyebrows as long as wicker, falling vertically. A look of relief flashed across the captain's eyes. Although his temper is a bit stubborn, everyone loves to hear good words, let alone a pedantic old man. The ass of Love Aikawa and Muguruma Kensai. The commander-in-chief was very satisfied. Then the captain's eyes shifted and stayed on Aceto. Aceto, you should be from the era of Kenpachi, right? That's right, I joined the team at the same time as him. Facing the captain's gaze, Aceto answered calmly. Aceto's words immediately caused an uproar. A man from the old days, survived so long alone in Hueco Mundo. It's appalling. Kayashiki, it's a pity. The captain seems to be a little nostalgic. Captain, if it weren't for Ling Yun, I wouldn't have returned to Jingling Court. He brought me back from the Manos Grande forest. Aceto confessed. This matter, the old man has already figured it out clearly. Ling Yun has indeed contributed a lot, and he deserves the opportunity to be promoted. The words of the captain immediately caused a sensation. Promotion. Although almost no one would doubt Ling Yun's strength. The first genius, the strongest executive. Ling Yun has long been wearing a lot of aura. But he has 3 seats now, and the only ones who go up are the positions of adjutant and even captain. Is it possible? Is Ling Yun really going to be promoted to Captain Shinigami? What? As for Ling Yun's own reaction, of course it was the same as everyone else's. In fact, this expedition, he did not help much on the frontal battlefield. However, relying on divine healing, he is still perfectly competent for his job. However, he was not prepared for the sudden promotion opportunity. Captain, regarding the matter of promotion, I actually think Ling Yun immediately planned to shirk. Although promoted to the captain level, the status and glory have risen. But compared to the Yachinryu Kendo, these are all worthless. He didn't want to leave the 4th team at all. But before he finished speaking, he was immediately interrupted by the old man. Ling Yun, this matter, I have already figured it out, so you don't need to say anything more. The captain's attitude was firm, and there was no room for negotiation. Ling Yun shrugged helplessly. He was very clear about the old man's temper. Once he made a decision, he would not change it easily. Now I can only bite the bullet and agree first. Subsequently, the captain gave a speech and arranged some follow-up matters, and the welcome ceremony also ended. Gote 13. The old order was restored again. The next day. First team building, captain team affairs room. Receiving the old man's order the day before, Ling Yun came here early in the morning. To be fair, this was the first time he met the captain alone without the company of Sister Wa. In fact, for most people, it is actually a very honorable thing to be summoned by the captain. Ling Yun didn't think much of it. In case the old man insists, he will be ordered to leave the 4th team. Then the salted fish life of the 4th team will be completely ruined. Ling Yun, this old man is very clear in his heart, you probably don't want to leave the 4th squad, right? The chief stood in front of the wooden case and asked majestically. Captain, I think the current situation is pretty good, and I also enjoy my time in the 4th team, so why don't I leave the opportunity for promotion to others? Ling Yun directly expressed his thoughts. Really, I don't think so. The captain shook his head. Ling Yun was speechless and silent. He felt the temperature suddenly drop. With your strength, you are qualified for the position of captain, and there is just a vacant position right now. The chief captain finally introduced the theme. Vacant position. Ling Yun vaguely guessed. The 12th division, Captain Hikafuna Kiryu, will be promoted in the near future. After she leaves, the position of captain will be vacant. The captain explained in a deep voice. Although Captain Hikikomori already has recommended candidates, I still think you are more suitable. It was beyond Ling Yun's expectations. The captain was unexpectedly optimistic about him. Captain, my Zanpakutō Yanmo, I haven't awakened Bankai yet, so it's a little bit reluctant to become the captain. Ling Yun once again politely declined. You have no interest in money. The captain raised his eyebrows. Anyone who faces the glory of captain will almost lose his composure. He has seen such a scene too many times in the past 2,000 years. Only Ling Yun is an exception. Actually not. It just occurred to me that there is a more suitable candidate. Ling Yun answered the old man's topic smoothly. Who? Second Team 3, Urahara Kazuki, I think he is more suitable. Ling Yun replied straight without thinking. That's right. Following the secret conversation with Hikafuna Kiryu last time. This time with the old man in secret, Ling Yun also acted as a talent intermediary. For the practice of Yachi Ryu Kendo, and also for the establishment of the Technology Development Bureau. He highly recommends the store manager. And this time, Ling Yun has a strong premonition that the plan is finally coming to fruition. Chapter 169 Give Flash Goddess a Face. Most of the day passed. This secret conversation is finally over. Although the captain was a little disappointed, he didn't embarrass Ling Yun too much, but respected his ideas. This time the promotion was hastily dismissed. Ling Yun got his wish and continued to stay in the fourth team, being a leisurely salted fish. As for the store manager, the promotion is guaranteed, and the only thing left is the official announcement. It also means the originally agreed plan of the Technology Development Bureau finally had a chance to be realized. If nothing else, Hogyoku, a thing of the gods, will be born in the next few years. And Ling Yun, as the store manager's companion, is one of the founders of the Technology Development Bureau. There will also be a chance to witness the birth of Hogyoku. At dusk, after leaving the first team, Ling Yun did not go back to the fourth team, but went to the second team's team building. As soon as he arrived, he was surrounded by crowds. Look quickly. The 3 seats of Ling Yun are coming. It is said that he will be promoted to captain soon. If I remember correctly, Ling Yun has been in the team for less than 2 years, right? I was promoted to captain at such a young age, I am truly the first genius of Soul Society. The sergeant officers of the second division began to discuss in a hurry. Ling Yun instantly had the feeling of being watched like a monkey. Nima, rumors spread so quickly, how could he be promoted to captain? There's no such thing. Ling Yun's brain popped out, and he almost couldn't help rolling his eyes. Brother Ling Yun, Captain Yoruichi worried about you every day while you were going to Hueco Mundo. 11. Nozomi walked over with a smile. Big gold chain, big gold ring, rich body shape, bloated face. The local tyrant temperament is vividly expressed. However, Ling Yun noticed that there was another strange figure following behind Nozomi. Although he is not very old, his bald forehead makes his hairline look worrying. It also has a bloated body shape, a purple stand-up collar around the neck, and a gold necklace wrapped around it. The identity of this familiar dress is self-evident. The real number 1 rich and handsome Soul Society, the adjutant of the second team more than 100 years later. Omeida Marekio. That's right. Following behind the local tyrant's father is the young Ome god BBFH. Not long after the expeditionary force set off, he just joined the second team and became an ordinary soldier. Having said that, relying on the excellent background relationship, the Ome god is flourishing in the second team. Not to mention ordinary team members, even the chief of the second team should greet him politely when they see him. This also caused Omeida to become somewhat bloated. It is for this reason. That's why this scene is happening now. Shijujin himself had no time to discipline, so he simply acted as the hands-off shopkeeper. He planned to send his cheap son directly to Ling Yun to discipline him. Ling Yun, do you still remember the mention of the tutor a few months ago? Shijujin smiled happily. No way, Uncle Local Tyrant, are you serious? Glancing at Dachinshin, Ling Yun's eyelids twitched. 1 Byakuya Kuchiki is fine, now 1 more Omeida. Dare he want to become the teacher of all related households? Omeida is still young, and I'm busy with family affairs, so I don't have much time to discipline him, so I just need you. As for the remuneration, you don't have to worry at all. If you have any needs, just ask. In order to get Ling Yun to agree as soon as possible. Nozomi once again showed his money ability. No way. As a wealthy local tyrant, this is his most effective trick. Uncle Local Tyrant, in fact, I haven't considered the aspect of remuneration at all. The first time I saw Omeida, I thought he was quite pleasing to the eye. Ling Yun spoke out of conscience. So you agreed. Nozomi showed a confident smile. His money ability has never failed. Uncle Local Tyrant, from now on, if you go to Drunken Ferry to spend every night, you can be charged with the bill, right? Ling Yun blackmailed him justifiably. Puff. Shijujin almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. As a century-old brand of Runlinon, the consumer price of Zuiju Xi'an is several times more expensive than other shops. Although he does have a lot of money and billions. But if it is consumed every day, no one can stand it. But, for the future of Omaeda. Shijujin finally gritted his teeth and agreed. Omaeda, hurry up and call me Jay. After discussing the matter, Nozomi made a gesture with his eyes. Teacher Ling Yun. Omaeda seemed very timid and stuttered when speaking. His tense face, coupled with the constantly shaking fat, looks unbearable. Omaeda, right, I will guide you in my spare time. Able to torture Omaeda. Naturally, Ling Yun would not miss this opportunity. So, after Byakuya Kuchiki, Ichimaru Jin, Ling Yun has another apprentice. It's just that compared to the first two, it always feels different. Subsequently, under Shijujin's leadership, Ling Yun came to the team office. Sister Yoruichi, you specifically told me to come here, isn't it just for the sake of chatting? Ling Yun came to the wooden case and sat down casually. Tisk tisk tisk, Ling Yun, I really can't hide it from you. Yoruichi took a sip of hot tea, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. For his younger brother, Yoruichi has always been partial and doting, always thinking of Ling Yun. This time is no exception. Tell me, what is it? Ling Yun picked up the teacup and took a sip of hot tea. Ling Yun, Shunpo, and Kendo, you've already excelled, and now you're missing Kido, right? Yoruichi's eyes flickered with a sly look, and he deliberately sold off. What's the meaning? Ling Yun was immediately interested. Yoruichi is right, with his current strength, Kido is indeed the weakest link. Although relying on unlimited skill points to upgrade all Kido to full level, it is only limited to high-level Kido. The legendary number, 90 Kido, Ling Yun will not have one. That day at Baidaemon, did you also meet the Kido? Sister Yoruichi, you won't help me get Kido long, will you? Ling Yun suddenly became very excited. Tessai Tsukubishi, Hachigan. The Kido attainments of these two people are definitely top-notch. If there is a chance to practice with them, Kido will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. That's right, the face of my flash goddess, do they dare not give it? Yoruichi smiled triumphantly. As long as you are free, you can go to the head of Kido at any time, and find the two of them to guide your practice. Yoruichi's words brought a big surprise. Chapter 170 Legendary Kido. Ling Yun. The face of my flash goddess, the two of them still have to give it. Holding a teacup in his hand, Yoruichi didn't feel any sense of disobedience when he said this. The innate aristocratic temperament set off her natural aura. As the entire Gotei 13, Shunpo is known as the Flash Goddess, and is also the head of the Shihouin nobles. Yoruichi's face, it really works. Sister Yoruichi, you really think of me everywhere, and you even greeted the two Kido leaders in advance. Ling Yun suddenly became excited. Tessai Tsukubishi, Hachigan. The Kido attainments of these two people are definitely top-notch. If there is a chance to follow them to practice, Kido will definitely make progress by leaps and bounds. Tisk tisk tisk, Ling Yun, when did you become so polite? Yoruichi leaned in front of Ling Yun, stretched out his hand and talked aloud. Ouch. Ling Yun touched his forehead and cried out that it hurts. However, the intimate interaction made the atmosphere of the room suddenly pleasant. Even Sui Feng, who was sitting on the side, was itchy with anger at this moment. My dearest Yoruichi-sama, actually did such a thing to others. Oops, really angry. Sui Feng frowned secretly. J. When she stared at Ling Yun, the originally resentful eyes gradually became complicated again. First, I felt the power of Ling Yun many times, and then I experienced the Hueco Mundo expedition together. Sui Feng, who is cold on the outside and hot on the inside, is infected by Ling Yun's personality, and gradually tends to be straightened. Even she herself couldn't tell the difference. Did the vinegar I ate just now come from Yoruichi or Ling Yun? Little Sui Feng, what were you thinking just now? Just as Sui Feng was thinking wildly, Notion's voice came from the side. No. Nothing, just a daze. Sui Feng, who has always been strong and cold, suddenly became panicked. Her speechless answer and the guilty expression on her face showed that she was lying. Really? Why do I feel like you're peeking at Ling Yun? Hiroshi said with a smirk. An old fritter like him has already seen countless people. Where can't you see the little juju in Sui Feng's heart? No way. Nozomi Susumu, don't talk nonsense. Sui Feng blushed suddenly. Even speaking became useless. Why are you speaking so bluntly? Do I, Sui Feng, lose face? Seen through by the local tyrant, Sui Feng wished to dig a hole to match himself. Ling Yun, as long as you are free, you can go to Chief Kido at any time, and ask the two of them to guide your practice. Sister Yoruichi, I'm going to visit the Kido congregation tomorrow. Ling Yun and Yoruichi are still talking. Yoruichi's connection this time provided Ling Yun with convenience again. Kido, like stealth maneuvers, are separate from Gotei 13. Therefore, Kido is long, which is equivalent to the captain. In Jingalingting, the captain-level Shinigami is not something you can meet whenever you want. Not to mention letting them guide directly. If it weren't for Yoruichi to come forward, with the temper of the two Kido captains, even the other Shinigami captains of the same level. If you want to go through the back door, you will only be brutally rejected. The next day, the southeast location of Jingling Court. The Kido team houses. Matsuda, is there any visitor today? A somewhat honest voice spread throughout every corner of the team office. The owner of this voice is a fat uncle wearing a forgiving robe and short pink hair. As the current deputy Kido chief, Hachigen's status in the team is higher than that of ordinary lieutenants. After all, there are very few people who are good at Kido, let alone those who have mastered the forbidden technique. Under normal circumstances, the Shinigami captains of other teams will show enough respect when they meet Hachigen. Deputy Chief Kido, there are no outsiders here yet. A senior officer responded. Really, you shouldn't be put on a pigeon, Mr. Yoruichi shouldn't be such a casual person. Hachigen was a little anxious, and even his forehead was covered with beads of sweat. Yu Zhao, you are too anxious, isn't it still early? Just wait patiently. Ask for flowers. At this time, a voice came from outside the door, because of Kido's long voice. Wearing a purple robe and holding a black staff in his hand, Tessai Tsukubishi looks very serious. With steady steps, he walked into the team affairs room. His appearance made Fat Uncle and the other officers immediately cast respectful gazes. Big Kido Long. Everyone greeted each other. Let's all sit down. You can order as you like. It is said that brother Ling Yun is very easy to get along with. Tessai Tsukubishi nodded respectively, and then went straight to sit down in front of the wooden table. Master Kido, this is actually not in line with the rules, is it? The third seat of Ling Yun is a member of the 4th division after all. A seat officer plucked up the courage to question. To be honest, he is just plain jealous. The personal guidance of the two Kido leaders is something that countless Kido team members dream of happening. Ling Yun is an outsider, but enjoys such a privilege. The team members of the Kido will naturally feel chilled. Yangsho, you think too much. It's just a simple instruction, not the kind of systematic teaching you think. Tessai Tsukubishi is friendly. In the face of his subordinates' doubts, he was not angry at all, but explained it patiently. In fact, this is also true. As he said, when Yoruichi first approached him, Tessai Tsukubishi's first reaction was actually to refuse. His biggest concern is the current situation. Worried that it will cause dissatisfaction among subordinates, which will cause adverse effects. However, after Yoruichi's persuasion, Tessai Tsukubishi finally changed his mind and accepted the short-term guidance plan proposed by the other party. The whole process lasted 3 days. In addition to the theoretical explanation, there is another highlight. That is what the legendary Kido teaches. That's right. That's Kido above 90. In the entire Soul Society, in the long history of more than 2,000 years, there are not many people who have mastered Kido above 90. In the original plot, there are only 4 kinds of Kido on the 90th. Its difficulty can be imagined 7. Chapter 171 The Big Kido's Special Hobby. Precisely because it comes to that, the Kido over 90. Only Tessai Tsukubishi agreed. His idea is very simple. If a Kido of this level wants to practice in 3 days, it would be unrealistic even in a dream. Even though Ling Yun is recognized as the first talent, Tessai Tsukubishi still has no confidence in him. It's not that he doubts Ling Yun's talent, but that this kind of thing is too outrageous. If it was really that easy to learn, it wouldn't be called legendary level. So just pointing it out is actually tantamount to selling favors, and it stands to reason that it is not a violation of the rules. As for whether he can learn it, it depends on Ling Yun himself. Big Kido, some gossip shows that Ling Yun is a Kido genius, and maybe a miracle will really happen. Hachigen said on a whim. Then don't care about my business. Tessai Tsukubishi shrugged, and suddenly had a treacherous smirk of, Chi ba chi, Yu Zhao, if I remember correctly, you haven't taken your medicine today, have you? What? Hachigen shivered. What he was most worried about still happened. All along, the scariest thing about their Kido crowd is the special hobby of the elder Kido. Force feeding. Various colors, various shapes, pictures of medicinal effects. Only unexpected, nothing unseen. In fact, in the Shinigami world, experts in every field always have some special hobbies. Kuritsuchi Mayuri, for example, likes taboo experiments. Hiroko Shinji, on the other hand, likes to drink water standing upside down. Tessai Tsukubishi is no exception. He likes to force-feed medicine, and he always extends his claws to his partners, among which Hachigen suffers the most. Over the years, the pink-headed fat uncle has been raped many times, and every time he has to squat in the toilet for a long time. After a long time, when he heard the word medicine, he couldn't help shivering. Hey, this is the medicine I specially prepared for you this morning. It can help you lose weight effectively. Just when Hachigen was afraid, Tessai Tsukubishi took out a dark green pill from his pocket. Gulu. Hachigen swallowed in horror. This pill doesn't look like a good thing at first glance, and if you eat it, you will definitely suffer again. But he had no choice at all. Tessai Tsukubishi's malicious eyes had already given hints. Don't eat. Waiting for you to look good. Big Kido Long. Are you sure you didn't cheat me this time? Hachigen wiped his cold sweat and took the pill in despair. He had already prepared for the worst. Yu Zhao, I'm not happy with what you said. Tessai Tsukubishi smiled solemnly. We have known each other for so many years, when did I cheat you? Puff. Hachigan almost spat out old blood. Nima. Listen, is this still a human language? The last time I had diarrhea for 5 days and 5 nights, it was because I took the medicine you gave me. Although he was cursing in his heart, he even wanted to smash the opponent's dog's head off. But Hachigan balked, and eventually swallowed the pill. That's right, the effect of the medicine should be pretty good, I'll give Ling Yun one too later. The moment Tessai Tsukubishi's words fell, Hachigan's face turned green immediately. He was like a suffocated eggplant, his face was bruised and purple. Yu Zhao, what's wrong with you? Tessai Tsukubishi asked cheekily. Your sister. After swearing angrily, Hachigan clutched his stomach and rushed out of the team office in a hurry. You can imagine what happened next. In the toilets of the Kido team buildings, there is about to be a scream like killing a pig. At the same time, outside the gate of the Kido team building, a figure gradually approached. It turns out that this is the team building of the Kido, and it seems to be no different from Gote 13. Ling Yun, who was wearing a black death suit, came here early in the morning. With Sister Yoruichi coming forward, Mengmengtieli and the others shouldn't embarrass me, right? Ling Yun walked into the gate of the team building with anticipation. As soon as he thought of the next step, he would have the opportunity to contact the legendary Kido, and his mood became brighter. Look over there. Hey, isn't this the third seat of Ling Yun from the 4th division? Why did he suddenly come here? Ling Yun suddenly broke into the team building, and all the Kido players on the practice field focused their eyes on him instantly. Although in Beidaemon Square, they had already met once. But Ling Yun is an outsider after all, breaking in suddenly will inevitably arouse suspicion. Of course, to a large extent, this is because the secret conversation between Tessai Tsukubishi and Yoruichi did not leak. Everyone, don't worry, I'm here to find Chief Kido. Facing countless gazes, Ling Yun showed a faint smile. Big Kido long. Now everyone was even more puzzled. The Kido and the 4th team have little contact with each other when they come back. Even if there is a need to hand over team affairs, Hana Retsu should come forward, no matter how bad it is, Katetsu Aizen. Therefore, Ling Yun's sudden appearance seemed somewhat abrupt. Regarding everyone's reaction, Ling Yun just smiled and didn't explain too much. Even if the Kido team members are somewhat xenophobic, he has no intention of leaving. Kido above number 90 will learn. As predicted, after a stalemate for a while, a hearty laugh came from the direction of the team office. Brother Ling Yun, I was busy dealing with team affairs just now, so I am really sorry that I didn't receive you immediately. Tessai Tsukubishi, who was wearing a purple Taoist robe, appeared in the sight of everyone with a thick accent. Big Kido long. Big Kido long. Big Kido long. The appearance of Tessai Tsukubishi immediately changed the atmosphere. The Kido team members retreated towards both sides, and soon emptied the aisle of the factory map. Master Kido, you are too kind. Ling Yun smiled at the other party. But just after saying this sentence, he immediately regretted it at 1.7. As this guy trying to make trouble? Ling Yun took a glance out of the corner of his eye and found a green pill in Tessai Tsukubishi's hand. Knowing the opponent's character well, he immediately reacted. Something serious happened. Brother Ling Yun, Tessai Tsukubishi said with a serious smile, you must be a little tired from the long journey here, right? Come yet. The corner of Ling Yun's mouth twitched slightly. He already guessed the next line. I happen to have some health products here, which can eliminate fatigue and restore physical strength quickly. How about one? Looking at Tessai Tsukubishi's dark, smiling face. Ling Yun couldn't help but want to complain. Nima. You are the devil. Chapter 172 The Counterattack of Stupid Green. Soon after. Kido Team Affairs Room. Brother Ling Yun, do you really not think about it? No, I don't feel tired at all. Think about it again. No, you'd better keep this kind of good stuff to yourself. The voices of Ling Yun and Tessai Tsukubishi kept ringing alternately in the team office. In order to satisfy his own bad taste, even if his lips were worn out, Tessai Tsukubishi never gave up and kept trying to persuade Ling Yun to take medicine. This kind of deceitful thing. Naturally, Ling Yun would not be easily fooled. So no matter how the other party persuaded him, he still tasted the tea without changing his face, and did not give Tai Li any chance at all. You can feed as you like, I just want to drink tea. Without any choice, Tessai Tsukubishi finally chose to give up. However, he secretly swore that once he got the chance, he would definitely force-feed the medicine. Simply a devil. By the way, where's the pink-headed fat uncle? Why didn't I see him? Ling Yun asked curiously. Yu Zhao, he is losing weight recently, maybe he is exercising on the 11 training ground. Tessai Tsukubishi made up an excuse at random, his face blushing and his heart beating. Lose weight. The corner of Ling Yun's mouth twitched again. Weight loss is here. Even if you lie, don't be so perfunctory. I'm afraid I just finished taking your medicine, so I'm probably squatting in the toilet. Ling Yun easily guessed the truth without even thinking about it. He suddenly feels sorry for Hachigan. I have been with Tessai Tsukubishi all the year round, even if I don't try to lose weight, can I lose several laps just by having diarrhea? Brother Ling Yun, Master Yoruichi told you about Kido's cultivation beforehand, right? Tessai Tsukubishi changed the subject in order to hide his feelings. Big Kido is long, I will definitely give it a serious try after 3 days of training. Ling Yun nodded. 3 days. For Shinigami, it's actually very brief, almost in the blink of an eye. The difficulty of Kido at level 90 can also be described as hell level. Want to learn in such a short time? It is actually difficult. It's Mao's first day, this kind of thing shouldn't be too stressful for you, right? Tessai Tsukubishi smiled. Although he thought it was unlikely, there was still something to be said on the scene. As for whether he can learn it or not, that's none of his business. I just found out after trying it, Master Kido, when will you start practicing? Ling Yun asked impatiently. How about this? Tessai Tsukubishi stroked his chin and quickly gave the answer. The backyard of the Kido team building is where Yu Zhao and I's private training ground is, so let's practice there later. Private training ground. Ling Yun raised his eyebrows in surprise. It sounds pretty powerful. Brother Ling Yun, since Master Yoruichi has come forward in person, I will naturally provide the best cultivation environment. Let's go, I'll take you there now. Tessai Tsukubishi stood up first. Ling Yun followed closely behind, and the two quickly left the team office. Soon after, the backyard of the Kido team building. Ling Yun, here we are, this is where we will practice Kido next. Tessai Tsukubishi's thick voice broke the silence around him. Not long ago, under his leadership, the two came to this place along the winding aisle. What? This is quite similar to a sword hall. Ling Yun looked at the front and gave a light snort curiously. At the end of his line of sight, stood a building. It was a gymnasium with an unpretentious appearance. Maybe it was because no one had visited for a long time. The slanted long steps in front of the gymnasium were covered with a layer of withered yellow leaves, revealing a bit of Shaoseis. Ling Yun, Kido, as one of the 3 major organizations, naturally has its ancient heritage. Tessai Tsukubishi explained with a chuckle. So, this place is also made of murderous stone, right? That's right. I see. No wonder there is a familiar fluctuation. Ling Yun nodded. With the existence of the murderous chi stone, you can practice with peace of mind. Usually, Yu Zhao and I often train here. I understand. Ling Yun's eyes burst out with strong anticipation. Personal guidance from the Chief Kido. This is what most people dream of. Then the two walked through the door. The interior decoration also comes into view. This place is similar to the kendo of the 4th division, except that the ground is covered with a layer of marble, and the surrounding walls are made of murderous stone, which can completely isolate all reiatsu fluctuations. Ling Yun, do you see those stone piles? Tessai Tsukubishi stroked his beard, and looked into the distance. You will treat them as targets later, just use Kido to your heart's content, and I will patiently guide you from the sidelines. It's that simple. Ling Yun felt something was wrong. It stands to reason that theoretical explanations should be given before Kido practice begins. But Tessai Tsukubishi's tone obviously didn't have this intention. Warm up first, so I can observe your strength. Tessai Tsukubishi smiled. Nima, if you want to be lazy, just say it. Ling Yun almost couldn't help rolling his eyes. He has seen through it all. Tessai Tsukubishi just wants to be lazy. I left myself here to practice, and then gave 150 perfunctory pointers, and finally handed over to Yoruichi. Tut tut tut. What a crafty old fritter. However, Ling Yun still complied with the complaints. Even if Tessai Tsukubishi is tricked again, he is still the chief Kido leader of Jinglingting, and his accomplishments in Kido are absolutely beyond doubt. This opportunity is once in a lifetime. Tessai Tsukubishi perks up instantly. I advise you to stay away, I am afraid that I will accidentally hurt you later. Oh, so confident. Big Kido long. Ling Yun. Faced with the other party's doubts, Ling Yun's response. Capture the other party's sloppy eyes. O King's Lander. The mask of flesh and blood, the one who flaps his wings and bears the name of man. Since taking office, few people have dared to challenge him on Kido's side. It is the Shuanglian Kangwo pendant after reaching the full level. Ling Yun is still the first. Carve the double lotus on the wall of the blue fire, and wait for the abyss of fire in the distant sky. Hado 73, double lotus Kangwo pendant. Shuanglian Kangwo pendant, you should know it. Come on, show it to me. Sitting on the stone platform, Tessai Tsukubishi yawned casually. Ling Yun couldn't bear it any longer. It looks very flat. Chapter 173 Black Coffin who sings fully. O King's Lander. The mask of flesh and blood, the one who flaps his wings and bears the name of man. Carve the double lotus on the wall of the blue fire, and wait for the abyss of fire in the distant sky. Hado 73, double lotus Kangwo pendant. Faced with Tessai Tsukubishi's questioning, Ling Yun didn't continue to reply, but fought back with actions. In front of the other party, he chanted and cast the full-level Shuanglian Kangwo pendant. Boom. The chant fell instantly. The majestic reiatsu of the captain's level suddenly erupted from Ling Yun's body. Even if there are murderous stone barriers all around, it still can't restrain this momentum. It's so strong. On Tessai Tsukubishi's face, the original frivolous expression was restrained in an instant. As Ling Yun had warned before, due to the relatively short distance, the oncoming heat waves from Reiatsu immediately made him sweat profusely. 3 seats in a medical team. Just the part where Kido chanted, exuding such a powerful force. Simply unbelievable. Ling Yun really took medicine. Otherwise, why so fierce? The swaying flames were reflected in the eyes, and a fine layer of sweat was spread on Tessai Tsukabishi's forehead. What made him even more unbelievable? Happening soon. Crash. After a burst of ear-piercing explosions. The Shuanglian Kangwo pendant was supposed to be in the shape of a fireball. Because of the full level of the skill, it turned into 2 pillars of fire that soared into the sky, almost overturning the entire room. Even if there is a barrier of murderous stones, the entire training venue is still crumbling. It seemed to be a furnace, exuding terrifying heat. This time Tessai was completely dumbfounded. Originally, I only planned to play it perfunctorily, but I didn't expect Ling Yun to be serious, and Kido's power is so fierce. He almost shut himself up. Big Kido Long. How is it? My Kido foundation is not bad. Watch Tessai Tsukabishi's wonderful expression. Ling Yun smiled. Brother Ling Yun, your Kido talent is really amazing. Even if I do it myself, I may not be as good as you. Tessai Tsukabishi regained his composure and said with sincere emotion. Ling Yun's Kido talent shocked Tessai Tsukabishi's heart severely. He put away all the slack in an instant, no longer holding a perfunctory attitude. Master Kido, thank you for your kindness. I still know myself. Ling Yun smiled humbly. Brother Ling Yun, in this case, I have to let the pod go. The moment the words fell, Tessai Tsukabishi's dark face showed an obvious expression change, like a waking beast. Are you finally going to be serious? Ling Yun and Tessai Tsukabishi looked at each other, feeling a deep oppression on this strange uncle. Fortunately, she has long been used to all kinds of big scenes. Ling Yun's mentality is easy to handle, and she even holds strong expectations. The head of the great Kido of Jingalingting. How strong is it? He is looking forward to it. Boom. Seeing no movement from Tessai Tsukabishi, a vast Reiatsu burst forth. There were bursts of wailing in the air, and even the floor of the entire venue trembled slightly. As the leader of the great Kido, it is obviously a matter of course for Reiatsu to have the rank of captain. Brother Ling Yun, later, I will demonstrate it in front of you by singing, number 90 Hado Black Coffin, you have to seize the opportunity to observe carefully. Tessai Tsukabishi reminded deliberately. I understand. Ling Yun, hold your breath, all attention. To be fair, this is the first time he has had the opportunity to come into contact with the legendary Kido. Even if Tessai Tsukabishi didn't remind him, Ling Yun would still concentrate. After all, this kind of opportunity is once in a lifetime. Looking good. This is Hado 90 Black Coffin. Tessai Tsukabishi looked like a rainbow, looking at the stone platform in the distance. Then the Hado chant begins. The muddy coat of arms is faintly revealed, and the talent of being unruly and arrogant. Tide, negation, paralysis, moment, impede eternal sleep. The crawling iron princess, the clay doll who keeps self-mutilation, combine, reverse, extend to the ground, know your own powerlessness. 90 of Hado, Black Coffin. As the Kido chants fell, the gymnasium instantly became dim. The majestic Reiatsu has evolved into a desperate black energy. From a distance, it looks like a black torrent, occupying every corner of the gymnasium. This moment, Ling Yun felt that his eyes seemed to be covered by endless darkness. And this is just a precursor. In the next second, a huge black cube formed at an extremely fast speed. From the outside, it looks like a black coffin exuding the breath of death. The continuous dead breath from it makes people feel terrified, as if they are inadvertently stepping into the abyss of despair. Is this the black coffin fully chanted? Ling Yun was deeply shocked by the scene in front of him. From Tessai Tsukabishi's hands, the black coffin cast was more ferocious than he expected. And at the moment when he was dazed, countless black shadow blades pierced through the black coffin, piercing through the boulder pile in front of him like thousands of swords piercing through the heart. Prickly. After a burst of sharp and ear-piercing tearing sounds, the huge boulders piled up were turned into dust, and disappeared completely as the black light dissipated, as if they had never appeared before. If it weren't for the murderous stone, let alone the entire training ground, the entire Kido team building would be blown up. This is the power of Black Coffin. Black Coffin would be too strong if he chanted it completely. An exclamation came out. Looking, by Zhao Li's, at the broken stones and powder everywhere, Ling Yun couldn't help swallowing. Ling Yun asked himself if the goal was replaced by himself, unless he tried his best, he might not be able to work. How about it? Don't just stare in a daze. Did you understand all the details just now? Tessai Tsukabishi's voice came oncoming. It is not difficult to hear that there is some showing off in his tone. Obviously very satisfied with Ling Yun's surprised expression at this time. However, Ling Yun didn't respond immediately. He froze in place, seemingly distracted. This kid, was he bluffed so easily? Tessai Tsukabishi was a little dumbfounded. After all, people who have been to Hueco Mundo, how can their vision be so low? Actually, he misunderstood Ling Yun. The reason why Ling Yun was in a daze was not because he was too shocked, but because the system prompt sounded again. Chapter 174 It's really dead. Ding. A warm reminder. A triggering task will appear. Do you want to choose it immediately? Just when Tessai Tsukubishi made fun of it, the system prompt sounded suddenly. No. A random mission was triggered at this time. Ling Yun was instantly surprised. When he first came to the Kido team building, he had an attitude of learning with an open mind, and never thought about any cheating. But now that the system prompt sounded, that means things don't get any easier. After all, every time in the past, when a random task is triggered, there is a high probability that there will be a generous reward. Think of these. Ling Yun's mood immediately improved. He said nothing. Immediately opened the task information bar. Random task. Explode yourself. Blame the uncle. Task content. Make a bet with Tessai Tsukubishi, take the green pill as a bet, and see who can take more pills. Open black lens bracket mission reward. Black coffin close black lens bracket. After carefully reading the task content, Ling Yun almost couldn't help being rude. WTF. Isn't this random mission too annoying? Race to take the green pill. Isn't this mutual harm in disguise? When Ling Yun thought of the scene of squatting in the toilet, Yishi felt a chill down his back. He doesn't want to have loose stools. Once you win this bet, you will be rewarded with black coffin. Faced with such a generous reward of 400 pairs, he was a little moved. Made. Fight. In order to master black coffin skills. Ling Yun gritted her teeth and accepted the task bravely. Isn't it just self-destructing each other? Come. Who is afraid of whom? Brother Ling Yun, why do I think your expression is a little weird? Tessai Tsukubishi's voice came from the front. At that moment just now, he happened to catch the fearless look in Ling Yun's eyes when he made up his mind. This gaze, like a basin of cold water, instantly made him vigilant. Where things go, there must be demons. I'm afraid Ling Yun is thinking of some crooked idea. However, Ling Yun's next request made Tessai Tsukubishi blossom. Big Kido Long, I have a proposal. Just now, everyone used Hado and consumed a lot of Reiatsu. Why don't you take 2 pills together? Ling Yun showed a bright smile. Together. If there are no these 2 words. Tessai Tsukubishi promised to agree immediately. But now he is cowardly. He knows better than anyone else what the specific effects of the green pill are. To put it mildly, it is health medicine. To put it bluntly, it is a diarrhea medicine. Even if you want to take medicine, there's no need to drag me along. Tessai Tsukubishi frowned and looked at Ling Yun silently. Even if you kill him, you won't cheat yourself. Well, isn't that a good proposal? Ling Yun's smile became brighter and brighter, and he had already read the other party's mind. If they really want to hurt each other, he must win in the end. That, or forget it, I don't feel tired at all. Think about it again. Forget it, it's better to leave such good things to the guests. Everything is the scene of the first meeting. The voices of Ling Yun and Tessai Tsukubishi kept ringing alternately in the training ground. But this time it was Tessai Tsukubishi who confessed. He shook his head desperately, almost crying for mercy. Can't you afford it? Ling Yun also frowned. Tessai Tsukubishi's confession is actually not a good thing for him. If you can't compete and take medicine, the mission will not start, and the reward will naturally fail. This is not what Ling Yun wanted. However, the idea just came to me. The system notification sounded again. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Due to the recognition of the target person automatically complete the random task by default. For a moment, Ling Yun thought she heard it wrong. No way. Completed the random mission so easily. This is too lucky. Ling Yun hastily opened the properties panel. I found that the word, black coffin, was indeed added in the column of Hado, and I immediately became ecstatic. FK. BBEI. The system is too powerful. Ling Yun almost jumped up with joy. Hado, number 90, is a watershed that separates the vast majority of Shinigami. Even the current captains, those who have more than 90 Hado, can almost count on one hand. Kido at the legendary level can be mastered so easily without any effort. Even if it's open. Ling Yun also felt dick fried. Then it's time to upgrade your skills. After calming down a little, Ling Yun couldn't wait, and clicked the conspicuous plus sign behind black coffin. Ding. Congratulations to host, the black and brown level has been upgraded to LV2. Congratulations host, black coffin has been upgraded to LV3. Congratulations host, black coffin has been upgraded to LV4. Congratulations host, black coffin has been upgraded to LV99. Ling Yun reached the full level of the skill in one breath. The system notification sound, like a text message bombardment, kept ringing in my ears. But the surprise is much more than that. Ding. Congratulations to host, you got the extra talent, black hole barrier. The system beep sounded again. After upgrading black coffin to the full level, he unexpectedly awakened his talent. Far beyond Ling Yun's expectations. Black hole abyss. Hearing the name, Ling Yun raised his eyebrows, vaguely guessing the talent effect. He immediately looked at the introduction. Open black lens bracket black hole barrier close black lens bracket. Talent effect. When releasing Reiatsu, there is a certain chance to be able to create a black hole that can swallow spiritual power, thus forming a special barrier. I did not guess wrong. The ability of the black hole to devour is a bit outrageous. Ling Yun's eyes burst into light. It can devour spiritual power and play a defensive role, even if there is a probability problem, it can only be described as pervert. Thinking. Thinking about what? Why do I feel that you are different? Let the other party almost choke on the saliva. Ling Yun smiled. Tessai Tsukubishi looked disbelieving. Is it really going to hang up? Just as Ling Yun was immersed in joy, Tessai Tsukubishi's voice sounded again. Brother Ling Yun, his defensive ability has been upgraded to a new level in an instant. With a puzzled look on his face, he couldn't see through Ling Yun at all. Ling Yun came back to his senses and found Tessai Tsukubishi looking straight at him. No way, you can learn it after reading it once. Tessai Tsukubishi was completely speechless. Actually, I was just thinking about it just now. Although it is a passive skill, but with this talent. These words of Ling Yun. It's nothing. I recalled it just now, and I think it should be almost the same. Big Keto Long. Chapter 175. I'm convinced. I took this medicine. You can learn it by watching it once. You, Ling Yun, are you really on the hook? Tessai Tsukubishi couldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death, but Ling Yun was really heaven-defying to this extent. Please. Keto practice, and reading, writing are two different things. It's completely unrealistic to have a photographic memory or something. At least in the past 2000 years, there has never been such a case. So Tessai Tsukubishi didn't believe it at all. Don't believe it. The corner of Ling Yun's mouth rose. Tessai Tsukubishi's expression made him feel more and more lucky. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is possessed by the Emperor of Europe. Back to, Brother Ling Yun, don't fool me, how could such a thing happen? Tessai Tsukubishi shook his head, forcing a smile. This smile is full of perfunctory meaning. Never forget. Ghosts believe it. But, what happened next? It almost made his eyeballs fly out. Boom. The majestic Reiatsu as deep as an abyss emanates from Ling Yun's body, accompanied by Hato's chant. It faintly reveals the muddy coat of arms, and the talent of being unruly and arrogant. Tide, negation, paralysis, moment, impede eternal sleep. The crawling iron princess, the clay doll who keeps self-mutilation, combine, reverse, extend to the ground, know your own powerlessness. 90 of Hato, Coffin. In order to bring a more shocking effect, Ling Yun deliberately performed the number 90 Hato in front of Tessai Tsukubishi in the way of singing. This action immediately aroused exclamation. Gulu. Even at this moment, he still holds a denial attitude. The act of swallowing saliva shows how shocked Tessai Tsukubishi is at the moment. He was just stunned. Is this Ling Yun a monster? Tessai Tsukubishi's face is full of complex expressions. When the impossible really happens in front of you. The shock brought by this result is simply indescribable in words. This is Black Coffin, legendary Keto of Class 90. Did you learn it just by watching it? WTF. This time it's Tessai Tsukubishi's turn to nearly blow it up. He has been in the Soul Society for many years and has dealt with countless people. But no one has ever been able to master Keto in such a short period of time like Ling Yun. The mood is mixed. Tessai Tsukubishi immediately fell silent. And this time, as the Keto chants fell, the gymnasium instantly became dim. The majestic Reiatsu has evolved into a desperate black energy. From a distance, it looks like a black torrent, occupying every corner of the gymnasium. This moment, Tessai Tsukubishi has an illusion, as if he has fallen into the boundless darkness. Even more exaggerated, as the head of the great Keto, his soul almost collapsed because of the surge of dark aura. Be aware that this is just a sign. The next moment. A black energy body in the shape of a tower, with the appearance of a huge black coffin, constantly exudes a desperate breath of death, and condenses into shape at an extremely fast speed. I didn't watch it. Is this the same black coffin I know? Tessai Tsukubishi was immediately dumbfounded. The shape and scale are also good, and the range of energy fluctuations is also good. The black coffin cast by Ling Yun is completely different from the black coffin cast by himself. Not to mention getting close, even just looking at it, there is a feeling of dying. And this feeling, with the penetration of the black shadow blade, directly hit the deepest part of the soul and heart, directly crushing the bottom line of Tessai Tsukubishi's psychological endurance. Prickly. After a sharp and ear-piercing tearing sound, not only the row of towering stone pestles, but also the entire Keto training venue collapsed together. The murderous stone barrier is useless, and it is no longer able to contain Black Coffin. The upgraded Black Coffin can blow up everything directly. Silence. Soundless silence. Tessai Tsukubishi froze in place with a dazed expression. As the head of the big Keto, he was taken over by other people's Keto. Even though he was used to all kinds of big scenes in the past, at this moment Tessai Tsukubishi's little heart was beating more violently than before. He shut himself up straight away. Big Keto Long. Well, I didn't lie, did I? Ling Yun spread out his hands, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Tessai Tsukubishi's expression made him so happy. Ask for flowers. Did you want to take medicine just now? Don't have any points in mind. Too strong. Brother Ling Yun, you are really scary, you are simply a monster. Tessai Tsukubishi held back for a long time before finally uttering a word. Apart from praise, he couldn't think of other lines to express his inner shock. Not only will you read it once. He even improved on the spot, completely breaking through the power of Black Coffin. Ling Yun's Kido talent. It directly subverted the other party's outlook on life. Tessai Tsukubishi even suspected that after practicing for so many years, it is very likely that he learned a fake Kido. Big Kido long. Let me explain in advance, this venue was blown up, I didn't mean to. Ling Yun glanced around. The ruins of the stadium, as well as the dust everywhere, all came into view. He showed a faint smile, very satisfied with the upgraded power of Black Coffin. He. Tessai Tsukubishi smiled wryly. This time he was completely speechless. Brother, even if I want to, can I dare? Even the killing stone was blown up, do I still have the guts to claim compensation from you? Ning, stop joking. This is the greatest reward. Your Kido talent, I took it. I took this medicine. PFF'd. The most important thing is that through this opportunity, I was lucky enough to master the number 90 Hado. What does that mean? Tessai Tsukubishi broke into a cold sweat, and quickly took out the original green pill from his pocket. In terms of Kido, there is a new breakthrough. Black Coffin after reaching full level. Are you asking for compensation for your laughter? Ling Yun frowned. Scared him so much that he needed medicine to suppress his shock. Watching Tessai Tsukubishi nervous. It doesn't matter if it's cheating or not. Ling Yun couldn't help laughing. After crossing this hurdle, even if you have a good start, your future practice will only become smoother and smoother. Remember the medicine I mentioned at the beginning. Tessai Tsukubishi swallowed the pill without saying a word. Tessai Tsukubishi was frightened and quickly explained, no, Brother Ling Yun, you misunderstood. Brother Ling Yun,